You got none of the ladies to stop me from rushing the stage. I'm kidding. No, I'm good.
All right, council, we are hitting the 30 mark on the hour, so if I can get council seated, make sure those lights are green. And once everybody's situated, lights are green, let's rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I want to say good evening and welcome what is a great set of individuals here in person, as well as to all those tuning in via Facebook and our cable broadcast. At this time, we'd like to turn it over to Clerk Tomasic to call roll for this evening's council meeting.
Schumate?
Here.
Cox?
Here.
McNabb?
Here.
Molnar.
Here.
Valentine?
Here.
Walden?
Here.
Wood?
Here.
Great. We have no absent members to excuse, which will bring us to our approval of agenda. Council, a couple things came up later last week after the agenda was approved that I'd like you to consider for adding. We require a motion to add these if you so chose. Clerk Tomasic has sent information via email on these items. Item 1, I'd like council to consider motioning to add to the agenda, and we put this under City Administrator Blackburn's report as item D, is a motion to add senior bus driver to the agenda under City Administrator Blackburn's report. For background in your packet, we require the authorization from council to hire another senior bus driver to ensure we have coverage for all of the shifts for our seniors that rely on that transport. So council will be looking for a motion, if you so chose, to add that to the agenda on item D of City Administrator Blackburn's report.
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Walden, is there a second?
Second.
Second by McNabb. Any discussion? We'll get there. Great. Katie, please call roll.
Cox?
Yes.
McNabb?
Yes.
Molnar.
Yes.
Schumate?
Yes.
Valentine?
Yes.
Walden?
Yes.
Wood?
Yes.
Great. City Administrator Blackburn will have that on D under your report. Council, the next item that was provided to you in advance for consideration for adding to the agenda this evening is a janitorial services request. Council, as reflected in the information sent by Clerk Tomasic, we would like you to consider authorizing a post to hire a part-time janitorial service that would be responsible for all janitorial services across city facilities. So if you so chose, that would be a motion to add janitorial services as item E under City Administrator Blackburn's report.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Walden, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Valentine. Any discussion on that addition? Katie, please call roll.
McNabb?
Yes.
Molnar.
Yes.
Schumate?
Yes.
Valentine?
Yes.
Walden?
Yes.
Wood?
Yes.
Cox?
Yes.
Great. The last addition is to add under communications, as item C under communications, a letter from Councilman Molnar. So I'll be looking for a motion from council to add item C, letter from Councilman Molnar for receive and file.
Motion to add the receipt and file the letter from Councilman Molnar.
We have a motion by Valentine. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Wood. Any discussion on this addition? Katie, please call roll.
Molnar.
Yes.
Schumate?
Yes.
Valentine?
Yes.
Walden?
Yes.
Wood?
Yes.
Cox?
Yes.
McNabb?
Yes.
Great. Those are the three items that we needed to get council's guidance on. So just to summarize, our agenda will remain as is with three updates. Item D, senior bus driver, and item E, janitorial services under City Administrator Blackburn's report, and then item C, the letter under communications. Any further questions, comments on approval agenda? Great. That closes our approval of agenda. Now that we have approved agenda for this evening, we'd love to open up the floor to our public. This is our public comment session, so please make sure that light is green and state your name and address.
Todd Taylor, 116 Elm Street, Houghton Lake, Michigan, 48629. Honorable Mayor and Council, as you can see in your agenda, I made a request for an amendment to motion 25-044, asking this honorable body to allow the Gibraltar Rockwood Rotary Club to use its current business address of 29340 South Gibraltar Road, the Gibraltar Community Center, through August 1st, 2025, as their business address, thus replacing the language requiring Rotary to change the address from the Gibraltar Community Center immediately. After having phone consultation with an attorney who specializes in 501c3 organizations, it was suggested that the perfect time frame for an address change for any 501c3 takes anywhere from 4 to 8 months. Said requirements are finding an appropriate address. Generally, it takes a month, give or take. Then the local 501c3 must have 2 regularly scheduled meetings where minutes will be taken that will approve the new address, and that takes approximately a month and a half. So now we're into April. Then the minutes would be sent to the Rotary International, which must approve a change of address for any of its subordinates. And at that time, another month you can add to that, and then it will be sent to the IRS for approval, which takes approximately 3 additional months. Now we're into July or August. We decided to incur the cost of hiring a 501c3 attorney so that the paperwork can be done right the first time. No delays in that paperwork being turned in promptly or proper. The attorney states that if everything is acted upon immediately, and everything is turned in properly the first time, we are looking at sometime in July that the IRS, the state, and federal government agencies would approve and recognize the new address for the Gibraltar Rockwood Rotary Club. We are asking for this time needed for the transition so that the communities we serve do not feel the effect of this change, as we have been using this address since 1977, with no issues legally to the Gibraltar Rockwood Rotary Club or the City of Gibraltar. Immediately upon being notified that the city did not want us to use that address any longer, we did immediately go and purchase a post office box. Unfortunately, a P.O. box cannot be used for the liquor of Michigan Liquors Commission or the Lottery Commission. It has to go to a physical address. We change our board members, can be changed up to yearly. We try to do it bi-yearly. So going through this every year or 2 years would be redundant and be very not cost effective. We're making every due diligent attempt to get this done in a timely manner. The Gibraltar Rotary Club has 12 events scheduled between March 1st and September 14th. All applications must be submitted to the state for approval of those fundraising events. If the current address for the Gibraltar Rockwood Rotary Club cannot be used on those applications for application purposes, all fundraising events that we currently have on our books must be canceled. We cannot have a fundraiser without a approved address by the state of Michigan. And who suffers from that is the communities, unfortunately. All these applications must have the current recognized business address on them. Please allow the Gibraltar Rockwood Rotary Club to continue the use of the community center address of 29340 South Gibraltar Road, Gibraltar, Michigan, until this address change is completed and approved by the IRS in the state of Michigan.
Thank you so much. We have that on our agenda for our communications. Council, any questions for?
I just, Mr. Taylor, is it just the Gibraltar Rockwood Rotary and not the separate foundations that are additionally listed?
It will be our new name is going to be the Gibraltar Rockwood Rotary Club. Associated with that will be the Gibraltar Rockwood Rotary Foundation. All others will no longer be in existence.
Okay, and so which one of those two, which EIN would hold the liquor license for
The
these?
foundation,
The foundation one?
yes.
Okay.
And for those that don't have intimate exposure to Rockwood, to the Rotary in context of the broader communities that are involved, perhaps you can enlighten council on some of the events you're referring to that would be impacted.
Well, the first event, we actually have our application turned in and it was approved. So that is the music bingo this weekend, or the 1st of March. The other events are Music's in the Park. We have a tentative Music in the Park for the city of Rockwood. We have the kayak poker run here in the city of Gibraltar. And then we have our last event on the schedule is the Point Moulet Festival and the rubber duck race, which is the same date as the kayak poker run.
Great. Council, any further questions or comments for Todd from the Rotary perspective? Great. We're not here to.
So the
please.
other two 501c3s that are currently listed would be removed?
Yes. There's actually only one other one that's listed. The other one is the Rotary International. That's not a 503c in regards to use of the Gibraltar Community Center. Nor does it have the address of the Gibraltar Community Center. It has an address in Indiana.
So the inquiries, just to be clear, there's multiple entities.
There has been in the past, yes. We're doing some cleaning up some paperwork.
And your request is to consider the Gibraltar Rockwood Rotary Club and the Gibraltar Rockwood Rotary Foundation. The Rotary Foundation is the one that you require for that address maintenance until August 1st to enable no disruption to the events in Gibraltar or surrounding communities.
Yes, the Gibraltar Rockwood Rotary Club mail can all go to a P.O. box.
Correct.
The foundation mail must go to the existing address. And until that address is changed, then it will go to the new address.
And you're just mentioning you're dissolving the other entity. Can you just help us understand why?
There's no reason to have two.
Okay.
We believe the Rotary Club about 15 years ago was in the midst of making those changes. And then Mr. Garza, he was a CPA here in town, passed away, got sick and passed away, and that was never followed through. So we're going to follow it through now.
Okay. Any further questions, council?
May I ask
Yeah,
a question?
please.
Mr. Taylor, I'm looking, just so council has clarification, I'm looking at the IRS form that you guys submitted to council, and for Rotary International, it still lists Gibraltar at 29340.
That's because it's
29340, yeah.
our business address. But that is not Rotary International's business address.
Well, that's what you have listed with, so there's clarity here that the IRS form that I'm looking at that you submitted to council was for 29340 South Gibraltar Rotary International. I'm just reading off of what you submitted to
Okay.
us.
Great. Thank you.
And further clarity, just so that we have a good understanding here, that there's currently and we'll get to a discussion later under the treasurer's report, but currently there's the Gibraltar Rockwood Area Foundation, Scott Dennison, President, Gibraltar Rotary Foundation, Scott Dennison, President, Rotary International, Ryan Mayer, Principal, and Gibraltar Rockwood Rotary Club, Todd Johnson, President. These are all public documents, so I'm just reading from the public document. So there's 4.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there any members of public that would like to address council? Please get to that podium, make sure that light's green, and state your name and address.
Tina Kuzma, 30495 Bayview. Sorry about my voice. That was one of the things I kind of want to touch base on, was the Rotary. 1977 makes me a little girl, so I'm old. It's a long time. Doesn't seem like we've been impacted negatively by them in any way, fashion. I believe they carry their own insurance for things that are required for different things throughout the state. Our building also, we're covered for different things, and there's a contract, I would believe, that pretty much dictates what's on who. So to create this dismissiveness or division, I would say, between Rotary and our community, Rotary who does a lot for our small community, including what minimum we have for our kids. That's another disappointing factor to see. These are all volunteers. They donate their time, their energy, and their money to make sure our community, our kids have things. I'm pretty sure most of the stuff out there we did not pay for. So that's another disappointing factor to see come from here. And hopefully they don't take it personally, and you know, if another city benefits more from them, more power to them. Go where you're celebrated and honored. The hour-long drive. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to make last meeting, but I did have it on, and I was a little taken aback by that. I believe it was for, what was it, the snow plow? It was for some kind of machinery, and we didn't want to do an hour-long drive to go take some looks at saving some money. It's pretty much the job. My job has required me to go a little more than I wanted to on any given day at different points. Now I have the luxury of working from home, but in the past I've had to go places I didn't want to go and do things I didn't want to do. And we do that to save money. So that was a little disappointing to hear that. I would imagine salary here is a salary. It's not hourly. You're going to get paid no matter what, no matter where you're at. So a little more due diligence and a little bit more effort. An hour drive is nothing, especially when it comes to saving money. So there's that on that. A couple other things. I know right now we're in litigation. I don't know where we're at with the Trush lawsuit. It happened back in, I want to say, August 23. It actually was filed. So I don't know where we're at expenditure-wise on that. I don't think that that's been brought up in any fashion, money-wise. I know we're bleeding money left and right. At one point, Mrs. Kane had come up here and alluded to, it was the conversation between her and Mr. Fonte about credit cards and being, and I don't remember exactly how she opened it up, but she alluded to the fact that being investigated for some other things, her and Mr. Kane, how do I want to say it? Inappropriate use of money of a resident, and I don't know where we're at with that, and what that's costing us, unfortunately. So those things I would like to see, maybe some reports on, some updates coming forth through council, through treasurer. Cost, I have been made aware of an incident that happened at JP's when they first opened, and there was and I remember very well the firework display, and unfortunately, en route by our police department, one of the police departments was injured, and there was a workman's comp filed, and obviously some destruction to the vehicle. Again, you know, not pulling permits, not doing due diligence, not causing them, so by not following proper procedure and protocol within the city as business owner and as council, costing us more money. So I'd like to see your treasurer report on that as well, where we're at with those kind of funds. I think there's a whole lot in the background going on, and then we'll just go segue into permits right there. Permits not being pulled for various things, that's part of our charter, that's part of the rules and regulations, right? And we have to follow them. And I think there's a little bit of abuse of power going on right now, and especially a conflict of interest. So I think those things really need to be, you know, I mean, we're all about transparency. We're all about being forthcoming, open, honest, fair, doing our due diligence. And I think some of those things need to start being spoken about in council as well. Updates to the citizens. I would appreciate that.
Yeah, and I think, so just a couple of thoughts from a financial perspective, because you've made several statements around bleeding dollars, et cetera.
Well, things that we don't need to, right? My point is, we have so many other things that we could be spending money on and should be spending money, and time and effort. We are so bombarded right now by negative, like the Rotary. Who attacks the Rotary? I don't see any other city doing that. You know, I mean, there's shameful things, and we have so many more important things that really could be, you know, and again, like the hour long, like, I'm really just so discouraged and disappointed. I really am. We have so many important things that we could be focusing our time and energy on, and we're punching back at things that shouldn't even be topics, to be honest. They really shouldn't even be on our radar.
I want to say a couple of things, just high-level data points, because I think they're very important context. When we published our 12-month accomplishment list from the current administration, we had highlighted one of the bullets, which is we've identified $480,000+ in savings through process, procedure, professional service, accountability, and contract negotiations, et cetera, et cetera. So I want to make sure that I just contextualize that. I'm taking your comments, but I want you to know that we've done a lot of work to save this city money, and a lot of those improvements are hopefully everlasting in process, procedure, accountability, contracts, et cetera. Two, in our budget cycle, last budget review, which we tried to drive a very transparent process, the city had the highest ever general fund balance it's ever had, as well as revenues. So I hear you, and I want to listen to what you're saying. I just want to contextualize that we are doing a lot of great work to build financial health and to introduce process and procedure. I think that will hopefully forever benefit, no matter if I'm in this chair or anybody else in council. As far as litigation, as we've mentioned in the previous discussions, we can't comment on ongoing litigation. We have provided updates, and really the simple synopsis, we have to let the process prevail and let the
Yeah, the
experts
trash
get-
one, I haven't seen any updates on, though.
Trush or Tangway?
Trash.
So again, this litigation will not be something that we would comment on, but at the end of the day, we let the process prevail. As far as Rotary, obviously, pardon me, that's on the discussion for council this evening. I know myself and other council members financially and time contribute to help Rotary and the events they do. So we do believe in Rotary, but there's obviously other things that we need to consider and that council's been looking at in context of the discussion at hand. So I just want to say a couple comments. Your comments are received. I took notes on the issues you've raised. Thank you.
All right, appreciate it, thanks.
Mayor, may I just
Yeah, please.
offer a comment? I'll give you a little review tonight on my treasurer's report. I was planning on doing that. Might fill in some of the concerns that you might have. I'll do the best job as I can within the legal limits of what I can tell you. But I just want you to realize that there was never an attack on the Rotary. There was no intent of an attack on the Rotary. There was when,
Okay, well-
well, excuse me, it's my turn for a minute. We came to the Recreation Department when we were writing our report. I'll segue into that in my treasurer's report, how we fell into that. We didn't look for it. We fell into it because of other things. And all we've asked this entire time is just please, even on our attorney's advice, to remove your address from city buildings. That's all we've asked. We've never asked anything further.
Other cities have, like, they use their city buildings, so I don't know why our cities all of a sudden
That's
having an
not
issue.
entirely true. So, I mean, it might be for some, but it's the best practice to separate private enterprises from a building facility. What's an anomaly here even is that the officers, the trustees, and everybody else don't use their personal addresses. They use all the city addresses for their entity registration. That's different, too. So
Is there other entities that use that, like Girl Scouts or anything that use that address?
Again, I didn't go looking for this. I didn't look
Okay,
for the
but
Girl
now
Scouts.
that you have found it, have you gone looking to see if
No, I
anything else
haven't.
uses
I
it?
haven't. I
think
haven't
that would
reviewed
probably be
anything because
beneficial.
the concern was that what we found through the recreation analysis, this is what we found. So that's all we presented.
Okay, so could we ask that if you start looking to see who else is using
I
it?
could, anybody, I've asked, I think if you, people would have paid attention to that meeting, I think I segued into, this is what we found concerning our dive on what we were looking for, that, I got to be honest with you, I didn't want to do this now, but the reason we trickled down into this was through the search for the Gibraltar Community Foundation that the
Right,
council
those-
is going to
yeah.
dissolve here. And what I'll explain to you today is that we have 3 of them. And just by toggling and using a search word Gibraltar, that's how we fell into this. Now, I didn't look for Girl Scouts or anything else.
Okay,
This
so we
is
can
how-
ask that, though. like-
Yeah, we
Yeah, how about
can-
we do that? Anything that's associated with our buildings,
Yeah,
then it's
I
all fair
think
for all.
that is fair for all, right?
Yep.
And that's all we're asking.
Okay.
We never wanted to hurt anybody. That was never the intent. It was just take your name off it.
Okay, well, then, I think that would be fair, then everybody's going to have to.
The other thing that the public should be aware of, and this is what I found out, what 501c3s have the ability to do is that when a public citizen asks for the disclosure on how their dollar is spent, on what percentage that is given back to the community, that's a fair ask. Congress enacted that rule, and that anybody, like if you weren't happy or if you were just excited about a club that was a 501c, you have every right to ask for those disclosures on if you're, in this case, if you're buying a beer for $1, how much of that dollar actually goes back to the community. That's a fair ask, and that's able to ask by law. In fact, the Internal Revenues Department encourages that. They ask for, they encourage 501cs to display that expense in disbursement report to the citizens because it promotes competition on the donor giving. So if Art here is given $100, maybe Rich wants to give $200 to beat Art, and so on and so forth. And that's what big corporations do. So it's a healthy exchange when the public knows what the disclosures are. To say that, we're giving back to the community so much, that's great, but, we don't know what that percentage is. And that's a fair ask that the government, the IRS, realizes that the public can ask that at any time. And every club that is doing goodwill work like that should be more than happy to disclose that. So,
Have they not been? Is that what you're saying?
well, now that leads into the segment is because they file taxes under what they call now a new 990N form, which if you keep your income under $50,000, you can do a short e-postcard, they call it. And on this e-postcard, you're not required to divulge your expenses or your donations to the public. You can if you want to, but you don't have to. So
So they use tax loopholes that you, I, and other people use probably,
But-
right?
but-
But I think we could probably go
But-
out there and get a fair assessment of
yeah,
what's been
yeah.
spent.
And all that is fair what you're saying, but at the same time, when you come across 4 foundations or entities.
And they
you-
need to
you-
clean up their books
Well,
like we needed to.
well, just
Yeah.
think about the ramifications here. 4 of them that are using the same entity leads one to believe that maybe you get less than 50,000 here, and then you move the next 50 to the next one and to the next one. So what you have is a potentially nice sounding,
So in all fairness, what we could have done is just said, hey, clean up your books, get one, and then we'll let you keep the community
that's what
center.
we asked.
But I thought that we were saying that, no, they can't use our address anymore.
That's what the ask was, change your address.
Right.
Yes.
But that's different than, hey, clean up your books, get one, and you can still use our address.
Yeah, I would change the address.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
Are you?
Thank you.
No, you're saying the issue is.
If you're going to be speaking, please use the
Saying
microphone.
that they have too many entities, so in all
I'm not
fairness,
saying,
we
they could have
say-
1,800 of them. I don't really care. It is as long as they're operating,
But in all fairness, if we ask them, hey, clean that up, because as we know, changing of hands blurs lines and nobody knows what one did and
well, we
what
did.
one
We
left
asked
off.
them for it, and the key word was immediate. You have to put some timelines on it, so I think there's a lot of us that have been in business before that know that the transformation of an address doesn't take 6 or 8 months. So, you know.
Based on the explanation.
Well, that's an explanation that he's entitled to have. There's others here that don't think it takes that long.
Thank you. Please state that name and address.
Tracy Garrett, 30624 Bayview. Just wanted to kind of piggyback off that. My Girl Scout troop, we meet at the community center. That's our home base. Everything is sent to my home, my address. Nothing is tied to the city.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Are there any other members of public that would like to make a comment for council?
Hello, my name's Paula Mullins. I live at 13333 Stork. Hello, I come before council, residents in attendance, and those watching online to discuss a rumor about me being spread around town. It has been brought to my attention that on Tuesday, February 11th, a woman with short brown hair driving a red minivan drove past the residence of Linda Landis and used foul language towards her while driving by. I too have short brown hair. If you know me, you also know that I drive a minivan. I drive a maroon minivan with very distinctive markings on it. I have also been told that someone, not Linda Landis, is stating I was the woman who drove past there yelling foul language. I am here to reiterate that I, Paula Mullins, am not the person who drove past her home and did this. I do not appreciate these lies and rumors. I was taught at a very young age that you do not lie, and I do not. Anyone who knows me will tell you if I have an issue with you, you would know because I would discuss it with you face to face or attempt to. I will not stand here before everyone and make accusations. Whomever started these rumors and lies knows who they are. It's very disheartening to know that someone would point a finger at someone innocent and taint their name. I say to the person responsible, shame on you. I completely believe in karma, and you will meet her. Always remember, when you point one finger at someone, you always have 3 pointing back at you. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other members of public that would wish to address council? Good evening.
Wayne Brandon, 30490 South Gibraltar Road. Did I catch in the meeting the other night, in the DDA meeting, that our new building department wants to raise rates again already?
No, we have that on the agenda for this evening. We have our building department here. The high-level synopsis is no, there's not a proposal to raise rates, and we'll talk about that in detail.
Okay. And also 13300 South Gibraltar and 13400 or Middle Gibraltar. They're both zoned commercial marine. There are people living in both buildings now. And Chief Tangway told me he knew the people that were doing the construction there and told them to stop. It was in a meeting. He said, I stopped at the coffee shop. I told them to quit. And now there's people living in both buildings,
Thank you so much.
both against our zoning.
I'd like to answer that. The day that those people were moving in, I went over there, I took pictures, I went and talked to the ordinance officer. They were all sent tickets in the mail, and they're got to go through the court process. So something is already being done about it.
Because I know 300 is a fire hazard because there's only one way in and out unless you go down 13 stairs and out of big doors.
The ordinance officer took care of that day. We had that conversation.
Thank you.
That's fantastic. Maybe it's an appropriate time, building department partners, if you are able to, since we have your topics at a later point in the agenda, maybe Carson and Laura, on the context of that comment, maybe you could just give a little bit of background on not only the building fees, but also the ordinance discussion, if you so chose. Thank you. Perhaps if you do that now, then we could save you time for later this evening.
Yeah, certainly. So I'm Carson Clausen, your acting building official, and this is Laura Gray, our permit technician. And I guess I'd like to speak first to like code adoption. And the only reason I even brought up the code adoption to make sure that all the building codes and the trade codes that are referenced, you know, that we require and we inspect towards. The only reason I suggested that you might want to work some language into your ordinance to like automatically adopt what's up at the state is because you're apparently going through like a potential like ordinance update or rewrite. And now would be the time to do that. Just like considering simple things like lighting, like residential lighting now with the new LED, so many, you know, ordinances are out of date. It's good to address these things, you know, while you can. So, but with regards to the building fee schedule, really there's been really no great increases. In some levels, there's even been decreases. There's just been more clarification. So I think that the format in which it was presented was in need perhaps of additional clarification, and I think that Laura worked on that.
Yeah, so
And-
I did work on it, and I did focus mainly, there are a few reductions and some little rewrites, and I did lower the, under the building plan review fees, you'll see the construction costs, anything over 500,000, initially had $1,000 plus, you know, a percentage of the valuation. I reduced that to 500, so it's significantly less. I did really focus on the rental, although there are no change in the fees, there's a little bit of restructuring based on feedback that I received from the condominium at, let's say, Waters Way. Those folks that live over there, they didn't really feel that they were being fairly assessed the fees correctly because the fees were being assessed based on a single-family home rather than a condo. So I took that into account and I lowered that condo fee, inspection fee, so they weren't being charged the full fee for like a regular residential home. And then I kind of like reduced it further, like a duplex, it's, you know, and then a quadplex. So I try to take in the feedback that I receive into account to assess those fees. So it's not an increase, it's just a restructuring of how it's assessed. And none of the other, I did add some fees from the state applications, and I mimicked their fees, but there was overall, there's no fee increases, but the whole fee schedule comes before you because of those smaller changes. So it's not a rewrite of the fee schedule or an increase of the fees in totality. So that's kind of where that's at.
I appreciate that explanation, because I was trying to look at them side by side, and I go, oh, I knew this is going to take some time to try and figure out what increased, so I appreciate the
Yeah,
explanation.
I didn't increase anything. That wasn't the goal here. It was just kind of coming at it from a more simplistic kind of.
I like the look of the new one better. It's easier to
Yeah,
get
and
through.
that was really the whole purpose of it. And really, I just kind of focused on kind of bringing down those rental fees just a little bit so people could clarify and see that, so.
I figured it'd be helpful for council to have this voice present in context of requested action. Carson and Laura, just thank you for all you do every day, but more importantly, thank you for this evening, being here until after 7 p.m. despite your day in the office. Council, now's the time. Can we please ask any questions with our building? Because I'd like to let them go home if that's possible, so they don't wait till the later part of our agenda.
My only question, this could be for every building department around, is what is the difference between the application fee and the administrative fee?
That's something that was already there, so I didn't change very much.
I get, even when I get my property taxes and I look at it and I go, okay, my tax is X amount of dollars, and then I gotta pay another 157 for somebody to mail it to me and take my check. And put that administrative fee on there. So it's just a pet peeve of mine, so
No, I mean, I get it. I see, I work in, you know, other building departments and they have it. That's what was, you know, have been in place administratively before we got here. So I don't really, maybe they transferred it from Trenton and we just kept it. I didn't, like I said, I didn't really change too much of what was already kind of in place when I got here.
Yeah, so do other jurisdictions, they also have two preliminary fees before you ever get to the?
Most do now, yeah, and I did check with surrounding communities on that too, so
What's interesting in some capacities, and actually Laura could, clarify this, she's been in the game a little bit longer than I have, but I've seen cases like in another community that I came out of, where there's administrative fees that were applied for building permits that were never picked up or paid for. It's one example, because you might have like plan reviews or zoning reviews that don't meet the criteria of like the $250 fee that goes towards planning, and that effort that doesn't go to the building department, goes to the planning commission. And so sometimes that's an offset to getting burned.
Okay.
But again, it's something that also could be like looked at, specifically for Gibraltar and whatever we can do to make sure that we don't get burned, But to be quite frank, I think that I see administrative fees also in many of the communities that I work in.
Okay.
This is a matter of course.
Awesome to hear. So in summary, you're updating, and it's obviously in the council packet. No, it's not an increased focus. I heard you say no increase in totality, some decreases, and then you've weaved in resident feedback or homeowner feedback as you've navigated some of these implementations to reflect that in your updates. And then on the ordinance side, just because Carson had flagged that for us, we have Councilman Molnar and I sit on our zoning ordinance committee, amongst other parties. And so you're referring to, like, when we think about the International Property Maintenance Code and other ordinance discussions we've had, you're suggesting we maybe consider in the future some sort of way to more efficiently adopt ordinances relevant to the operation here in Gibraltar.
Correct. I think that you'll see that the IPMC and fires, that's treated separately, but in many communities, you'll say that for like the Michigan Building Code, the Michigan Residential Code, and all the plumbing, electrical, mechanical codes, that many communities will have, like, say, okay, we work towards the following, codes, right? And some people even have links that go straight to the LARA or the state website for the Bureau of Construction Services, just explicitly just denoting, here's the codes, that we're working towards, or that we're following right now. And that's the umbrella for all the codes. When it really comes down to it, we need to follow what's up with the state anyhow.
And the state has supremacy ultimately over
Absolutely.
our local, yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's just kind of while you're cleaning up the language, include that. It's worth considering.
Well, I don't know if that's particularly accurate about the state having supremacy.
Yeah, how does that work?
No, I think there's, local jurisdictions have the ability to make modifications to building codes as they see fit. And we talked about this a year ago. Wyandott's one of them that it still is on like the 1989 code with modifications to it. There are certain things when it comes to fire, and there's certain things when it comes to electrical that our state mandated to have supremacy. And Anthony might be able to speak more to this too. But I just want to clarify
Powers local
that
to make
it's-
those.
Yeah, there is because you look at a rural town in that's got 500 residents, and its socioeconomic capabilities aren't as high as somewhere that has more financial capabilities. And if you require the same mandates on those places to build a home or remodel something, it's just it puts a huge burden on these places. So there is some local flexibility, if you will.
Love that.
There are caveats, so
Yeah.
you are correct in that, yes.
Awesome. Carson, Laura, thank you again. Council, any final questions for them before they leave?
Sorry, last thing. I did finally read the refund policy, and if there's no inspections, then 75% of the administrative fee and the admin fee and any other permit fees are refundable pending no inspections. So that makes a lot of sense. Thank you.
Why don't we
thank
let
you
you
very
two
much
go
for your
home
counsel.
unless you want to stay for the rest of the meeting?
I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Tina Kuzma, 30495 Bayview.
Yeah.
Just to highlight off of that, admin fee and application fee, only because I work in the industry.
Yeah.
So they're not on our payroll, correct? Do we have a contract with them, right?
You want to speak to our financial relationship?
They are contractors of the city. They are not city employees.
Right. So their money comes from just that small portion. So I can attest to admin fee. Mind you, the whole history going back to how that all came to be was from the crash, and why cities started implementing it, it's why they started getting so harsh. We work, unfortunately, not we, sellers and buyers work them and us unnecessarily. So sellers and buyers are required to do certain things and they don't follow through. So I'm chasing her down to ask her for the ACR, the C of O. So that's kind of, we don't pay her by the hour, right? She gets paid by the job. And if we run her 15 hours on something that should have been a 45-minute situation, because buyers and sellers and realtors and so forth didn't do their job, and now they want to get to the closing table, and we're running around, lenders running around asking, where's the C of O? We're asking, where's the C of O? So that's paying her for her time and efforts, which she wouldn't have got, the inspection and the small increments of other things are supposed to pay her portion. And since they don't necessarily, those accommodate that.
Appreciate the perspective. That was a very insightful exchange on many fronts. Thank you all. Any further public comment? All right, that will close our public comments. And council, I would like to call your attention to our consent agenda. Council, item A, bills reference number 16. Item B, payroll 940 and 941. Item C, city council minutes of 2/13/25. Item D, special city council minutes of 2/17/2025. Item E, planning commission minutes of 1/21/25. And item F, DDA minutes of 1/21/25. Be looking for a motion to approve items A through F on our consent agenda.
Motion to approve the consent agenda.
Motion by Wood, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Valentine. Any discussion, recognizing the last meeting's guidance from our attorney? Katie, please call roll.
Schumate?
Yes.
Valentine?
Yes.
Walden?
Yes.
Wood?
Yes.
Cox?
Yes.
McNabb?
Yes.
Mulnar?
I'd like to ask for some advice from our attorney. I see there is a payment to a company that I have involvement with, and I want to make sure that my vote on this, being that it's in the consent agenda, is it appropriate for me to vote on this, or should I abstain from this?
If you have a financial benefit, then you need to state why you're abstaining, and then that'd be the basis for abstaining. What I would recommend, because it's a part of the larger consent agenda, a motion be made to remove it from the consent agenda, and a separate vote be made just for that item, because you can still vote on everything else.
Yeah.
So,
Okay, so procedurally, we have a motion that is on the table and getting voted on now. Do I make a separate motion? Do we ask the motion maker to?
ask the motion maker to withdraw that.
With temporarily withdraw it?
Correct.
Motion maker Wood, would you be willing to temporarily withdraw under the circumstances that just arose?
Yes.
Great.
Second.
Is there a second of that temporary withdrawal? Great. Okay, that reverts us back.
So I would ask for the payment to Flow Air Heating and Cooling be removed from the consent agenda. Make the motion to remove that from the consent agenda.
The motion for that floor, great, second by Cox. I'll let Katie make sure she has that captured.
Would it just be that one Flowware item or the whole bills of reference?
It's kind of different because it's lumped in with the whole bills of reference, but that's only technical thing that he would need to abstain from. So we could remove it from the whole item, but I don't know how is it bundled in as one payment? How does it work?
No, it's multiple different payments, but it's 44 disbursements for a total of $728,908.15.
Okay, so
Of which the Flow Air payment is $48,000.17, or $17.53.
So maybe remove that one item to make it clean, and then going forward, what I'd say, if that's a part of any payment schedules, just have it be separate, so we don't have to do this next time.
Okay.
So just removing Flowware.
Correct. That's the only, floor is the only thing?
Yes, sir.
Okay, then just remove floor.
So the motion stands as stated and
So-
seconded.
Everything else and the payment schedule would still be in the consent agenda. That one item would be removed from the payments, and that would be a separate vote for approval.
Great. Where would that item be next voted on?
Well, I would say vote on the consent agenda now that that's been removed from it, so that's done, and then you can move on to the next part.
Do we have to vote on the removal of from the consent?
Yeah,
agenda?
take the vote on that first to remove it.
Great. All right, so we have a motion, a second to remove it. Any further discussion on that item? Whenever Katie has that documented, we can call roll.
Valentine?
Yes.
Walden?
Yes.
Wood?
Yes.
Cox?
Yes.
McNabb?
Yes.
Mulnar?
Yes.
Schumate?
Yes. Great, so that removes that item.
I'll go back to the consent agenda, take a vote on that.
Great. So we will go back to the consent agenda, recognizing the removal of the carried item. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda with that item removed?
Motion to approve the consent agenda.
Motion by Walden. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by McNabb. Any discussion further? We'll allow Katie to call roll whenever she is ready.
Walden?
Yes.
Wood?
Yes.
Cox?
Yes.
McNabb?
Yes.
Molnar,
Yes.
Schumate?
Yes.
Valentine?
Yes.
Motion carried. Now, when would we procedurally vote on said item?
No, you could do that. Councilman Molnar has to say he's abstaining, and then council has to approve him from abstaining based on his basis for abstaining. And then once that's approved, if it is, then everyone can vote at that point, except for Councilman Molnar, which would be abstaining.
He's expressed that he wants to abstain for that reason. Council, would you motion to approve Councilman Molnar from abstaining on the flow air vote based on financial relationship?
I'll make that motion.
It's a motion by Cox. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Walden. Any further discussion? Okay. Katie, please call roll.
Hold on one second, please. Wood?
Yes.
Cox?
Yes.
McNabb?
Yes.
Molnar,
Abstain.
Schumate?
Yes.
Valentine?
Yes.
Walden?
Yes.
Okay, great. Now, we would be looking for a motion.
Motion to approve the payment.
Motion to approve the flow air payment as described.
Motion to approve the payment.
Motion by Cox. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Valentine. Any further discussion on this matter? And whenever you're ready, Katie, we'll have you take roll.
Cox?
Yes.
McNabb?
Yes.
Molnar,
Abstain.
Schumate?
Yes.
Valentine?
Yes.
Walden?
Yes.
Wood?
Yes.
Motion carried. Look at that procedural.
Yeah. Sorry for
matrix.
sorry for the challenge.
It makes things exciting. Let's keep moving. We got to approve the consent agenda and a procedural matrix accomplished successfully. Let's get to communications. Take the light mood and state that I'm very sad to state that the item A on our communications is a letter of resignation from Jerry Harrison. We'd be looking for a motion to receive and file the letter of resignation from Jerry Harrison.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Cox. Is there a second?
I'll join you in sadly seconding, with regret, and I'd like to be part of the discussion when we're ready for that point.
100%. Yeah, with the second, I think all of us can speak for the same mindset, which is Jerry Harrison has done a tremendous amount for this community. And it is a very tragic day to be accepting that letter of resignation. I know we've talked about it before. We've celebrated him at holidays and events for his accomplishments and contributions. Simply put, I feel like Jerry exemplifies an amazing person, an amazing family man, and an amazing contributor to pouring his heart and soul into working very hard for this community. And it hurts my heart to be having this discussion. But Councilman Mueller, anything you'd like to add?
Yeah. Jerry's won DPW Member of the Year every year, I think. But the biggest thing that Jerry brings to the table is that smile. He's got a smile that is contagious, and about the only saving grace that we have is that he is, I believe, and I don't know all the facts, but I believe he's going to Rockwood, and we work hand in hand, and when we need an extra hand over here and we call them, I'm sure Jerry will enjoy driving closer to home, and he'll share his smile with us, and we'll it's not the last we'll see of him, but certainly appreciate everything that he and his family bring to our community.
Well said. Council, any further discussion on this matter?
An unfortunate loss.
Incredibly. Katie, please call roll for the receive and file.
McNabb?
Yes.
Molnar,
Yes.
Schumate?
Yes.
Valentine?
Yes.
Walden?
Yes.
Wood?
Yes.
Cox?
Motion carries. Send and love, Jerry. Item B is a communication from Gibraltar/Rockwood Rotary. In the communication section, this is receive and file. Treasurer Fonte alluded to there will be broader discussion opportunities throughout our agenda. on relevant matters. But we'll be looking for a motion to receive and file the communication from Gibraltar Rockwood Rotary.
Motion to receive and file.
Motion by Walden, is there a second for that receive and file? Second by Councilwoman Wood. Any further discussion on this matter? Katie, whenever you're ready, we'll let you call roll.
Mulner?
Yes.
Schumate?
Yes.
Valentine?
Yes.
Walden?
Yes.
Wood?
Yes.
Cox?
Yes.
McNabb?
Yes.
Lastly, we'll be looking for a motion to receive and file the letter from Councilman Molnar as item C on our communications.
Motion to receive and file the letter from Councilman Molnar.
There's a motion by Councilman Valentine. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Wood. Any discussion on this item? I know City Administrator Blackburn has been working with applicable parties to take appropriate action, but any further discussion on this matter? Great. Katie, please call roll.
Schumate?
Yes.
Valentine?
Yes.
Walden?
Yes.
Wood?
Yes.
Cox?
Yes.
McNabb?
Yes.
Mulner?
Yes.
Motion carried. All right, now that we're through our communications, I'd like to turn you over to my report this evening. My report's really a reflection of many things that we've worked together to progress. So let's go one by one. First on my report is appointments for Recreation Commission. What an exciting day for Gibraltar in that we went from 2 Recreation Commission members to hopefully leaving this discussion with 7. I want to thank those that have applied, both for their prior contributions in some cases or their present-day aspirations to be a part of the Recreation and Parks Department as commission members. So with that being said, Council, I've included the 5 applications, Paula, Connie, Geraldine, Cheryl, and Tracy, that we would request a motion to appoint. And Katie, Anthony, if you'd prefer this to be one motion that appoints all 5 members, or do you prefer this to be individually performed from an appointment perspective? Any guidance for us on that matter?
It's a 5 of 5?
Well, up to the council, but I feel like I'm expecting support for those 5.
Probably easier to do to 1 than if it's just going to be all 5 and there's no discussion. The motion could be made, and then if people don't want to do all 5, then they can
Great.
change it at that point.
Well, Council, I'd ask for your motion to encompass the appointment of 5 commission members, Paula, Connie, Geraldine, Cheryl, and Tracy, to our Parks and Recreation Commission.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Valentine, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Wood. Any discussion? Just again, thank you to those that are putting their hands up to contribute. We'll have another discussion on the Parks and Recreation Director here shortly. Any discussion? Katie, please call roll.
Valentine?
Yes.
Walden?
Yes.
Wood?
Yes.
Cox?
Yes.
McNabb?
Yes.
Mulner?
Yes.
Schumate?
Yes. Our Parks and Recreation Commission now has 7 members, so thank you so much for that contribution for all those applicants. Applicants, we do have a 11 target, so if there are 4 more individuals out there that want to apply to be a part of the Parks and Recreation Commission, we'd love to see those applications come through, and those can be provided to my clerk or any of the council members that you see here in front of you. Next item is going to be our Board of Review. Just for context, we've just covered this in previous meetings. At a very high level, we have 3 regular members and we have 2 alternates. Couple things going on here. One is, council's already provided direction on some appointments for this Board of Review. With an appointment, those Board of Review members must be sworn in within 10 days. So we need to make sure that procedurally we address that element. The second element of this is that we were looking at a lot of our commissions, boards, and we want to, to the best of our ability, align the cycles and terms, especially when it comes to this, which requires a certain number of individuals for critical milestones. And as you can imagine, these Board of Review appointments previously were a variety of different timelines, offset. There wasn't a lot of continuity there. So for both of those reasons, I wanted to revisit this and make sure that we could reappoint, in some cases, certain individuals, or newly appoint some individuals. So I thought we could go one by one since this varies. So the first one is Troy. We're looking for a motion to reappoint Troy as a regular member to the Board of Review. And all this will be described in number 2, letters A through G in my packet.
Do we have to go each one individual?
Some of them are different, so I think, like, for example, Blake Eager would be item C, where it's not just an appointment, it's an alternate to a regular proposal, so I'd like to segment those just for that reason.
One more question.
Yeah.
Did they have to be sworn in front of us, or can Katie just swear them in?
I can do it.
Katie can do it at the City Hall office at the convenience of each individual.
Okay,
But it has to be done within 10 days, just to be clear. And she'll work offline with folks to do that.
Make the motion to reappoint Troy to the Board of Review.
All right, there's a motion to reappoint Troy as a regular member. Just be explicit there because we have regular versus alternate. All right, motion for Troy for regular member. Is there a second?
Second.
A second.
Give it to her.
Second by Walden. Any discussion? Katie, call roll whenever you're ready.
Walden.
Yes.
Wood.
Yes.
Cox.
Yes.
McNabb.
Yes.
Mulnar.
Yes.
Schumate.
Yes.
Valentine.
Yes.
Troy, thank you for your service. Motion carried. We'll need to have Troy come in within 10 days to get sworn in by our clerk. Item B is Tim Grant. Tim Grant, we'd like to reappoint as a regular member to the Board of Review with a council motion.
I'll make a motion for Tim Grant.
Motion by McNabb, second by Valentine. Any discussion? Katie, please call roll.
Wood.
Yes.
Cox.
Yes.
McNabb.
Yes.
Mulnar.
Yes.
Schumate.
Yes.
Valentine.
Yes.
Walden.
Yes.
Mr. Grant, thank you for your service on the Board of Review. We need you to get with Katie in the next 10 days. Item C is going to be William Blake Eager. Blake is currently an alternate, proposing a regular appointment to the Board of Review for Blake. We'd be looking for a motion to appoint Blake Eager as a regular member to the Board of Review.
Motion to appoint.
Motion by Wood, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Walden, any discussion? Whenever you're ready, Katie, we'll let you call roll.
Cox.
Yes.
McNabb.
Yes.
Mulnar.
Yes.
Schumate.
Yes.
Valentine.
Yes.
Walden.
Yes.
Wood.
Yes.
Great. Motion carried. Blake, we'll need you to come in, and congratulations on alternate to regular transition, and come in to get sworn in by Katie. Item D is Cody Dill. Cody Dill was motioned by council to be an alternate on our Board of Review. We'll be looking for a motion to appoint Cody Dill as an alternate.
Motion to appoint Cody Dill as an alternate to the Board of Review.
Motion by Valentine. Is there a second? Is there a second? There is not a second. Okay. That motion is not seconded, so therefore we can't pursue that motion any further. Item, pardon me, item E is Linda Crowther. Linda is currently an alternate, and so we were looking for a motion to reappoint Linda as an alternate to the Board of Review. No motion to appoint Linda as an alternate? Okay, so council, here's the thing. You now have 3 regular members. Some of those regular members are not able to attend the March Board of Review requirements. So you need to make another appointment this evening to allow us to carry on with our Board of Review commitments, specifically March 5th and March 19th. So if you're holding back on some of those appointments that were already made, we need to make sure we make an alternative appointment to cover that base. Otherwise, we'll need a special meeting to get that appointment made. Otherwise, our Board of Review can't go on as planned. So I want you to just understand the severity. I need to.
Do you have recommendations for these positions?
I did not come in knowing that those 2 would not be supported, especially.
Are these your recommendations?
There's these 2 which are already appointed, which I voted yes on. Then the other individuals that put themselves forth were Dennis Bosmer, and I believe, I don't want to speak for her because she's in the room, Tracy Garant, I believe, did you had put yourself together for? Yeah, so I think we received those 2. So Dennis and Tracy were others. We need somebody, like, we have to have them. Troy can't make it. Cody and Linda were already appointed.
And we need this by March.
March 5th, and they have to complete a 3-hour training
We
prior to
don't
that.
have another meeting.
We do not have another meeting to accommodate that, so I wasn't aware of these 2 individuals not being reappointed, so I'm expressing to you that if we don't, our Board of Review will be at risk, which is obviously critical for our city operation.
Yeah, we need to make these appointments. What do you need from us?
I need a motion from council to appoint either one of the 2, Cody or Linda, who have already been appointed and approved.
I'll make a motion to appoint both of them.
Okay. So there'd be, just to be clear, they're alternates. So it'd be a motion to appoint
both of them as
Cody
alternates,
and Linda
yeah.
as alternates
Mhm.
to the Board of Review. Thank you, Councilman Molnar.
Yep.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Valentine. Any further discussion on that matter? Katie, please call roll.
Mulnar.
Yes.
Schumate.
Yes.
Valentine.
Yes.
Walden.
Yes.
Wood.
Just a question. Is that, you're voting for both of them?
Both of them as alternates, and you have 4 yes votes. The vote is on you, Councilwoman Wood.
Okay. No.
Cox.
No.
McNabb.
No.
Motion carried. Cody, we'll need you to get sworn in within 10 days. Linda, if you're watching, please connect with our clerk in City Hall to make sure you are sworn in. For members, Cody or Linda will work with you offline to make sure you have what you need for the commitments, which are scheduled for, again, March 5th and March 19th, critical for our city operation. Next item on my overview, we're all continuing to learn as we go through this journey of parliamentary procedures and policy and operation from an administrative perspective. So all I want to do today is zero action required for you, but in your packet, I included our administrative policy manual. It was previously shared by Clerk Tomasic. We had our parliamentary procedure training November 30th, 23. Some of us did elected officials training December 13th, 23, just providing this to reinforce that we have a good administrative policy manual, some of which addresses, operational administrative considerations for how we execute our meetings as we all continue to learn together. Any questions, comments? All right, great. Next item is an exciting one because now that we have 7 Parks and Recreation Commission members, we need to consider the appointment of our Parks and Recreation Director. So in your packet, I've obviously provided that ask. And that ask is really important because when we think about our Parks and Recreation Department, we need to appoint the individual that will lead that effort. I know we talked about it. We had a great set of interviews. I know we all discussed how, I would say, how surprised and how high the bar was set in regards to having 7 individuals come. I exceeded all of my expectations. Council, after that meeting, we discussed that each of you would think about your priority recommendations and come back to consider an appointment this evening. I've also gotten feedback from some of our internal team members and personnel who watched the interviews and department heads who expressed some of their perspective, and I'm glad to contribute that to the discussion. But I want to open up the floor for council, and I'd like to start on either side of the docket and see if there's any strong perspectives as to who you feel your priority recommendations would be for the Parks and Recreation Director.
I'll start.
Great.
So I initially had 3. My first pick was going to be Mr. Boyer. I really liked his passion. He spoke about something that I kind of hold true to my heart is communication. And really looking for the community's opinion and their feedback on some of the programs that we have. And instead of just progressing with what we have now, he likes to get feedback and find out what's working, what's not working. My second pick was Kristen Schonk. And tied with her was Austin Reynolds, just because, one, they're younger. So they're going to have a little bit more of a creative mind. And 2, just looking at Kristen's background with her being an athletic director, I thought it would be very beneficial to have someone with that background that could maybe incorporate some different exercise things. So I know we were talking about a lot of the focus with the rec department was on youth programs, but we were trying to involve the older people of the community. And just thinking outside of the box for me would be like Pilates in the park, yoga in the park, things like that, that she might be able to incorporate. And then Austin, with him having the background in the YMCA, again, with the creative programs that he could bring. My only concern was being younger, they may be looking for a full-time employment. And getting them in this position, what happens when they get some credibility behind them and they find something else that they may be able to get paid more and they may be able to offer their services somewhere else. And just kind of putting us in this situation again, in a year or 2. But that's just my perspective. Those were my 3 top picks.
Great.
I think everybody interviewed really good. I think everybody brought a lot to the table, but those 3 stood out to me.
Thank you. Councilman Molnar, McNabb, would you like to take the floor next?
My pick was Austin Reynolds,
Okay.
too, but my top pick was Jessica Walton. I believe that, she's had experience in the city at the time, and Kristen Schunk.
Okay, Austin,
picks.
Austin, Jessica, and Kristen. Great. Councilman Molnar, any perspective you'd like to share?
So I kind of looked at the Recreation Department from a broad perspective, looking, and we know we have 2 community centers that generate rental, both for the residents and for non-residents. And then we also have the recreational activities in the parks that we have for the community residents to use. And I tried to poll a handful of people that I communicated with over the last week, but I must admit my schedule was pretty full, and I didn't have nearly the engagement that I wish I would have been able to have. My thought process was, if we're going to try and do the financially responsible thing from that, or financially beneficial practice from that, would be to try to find somebody who could utilize our community center at a higher rate of pace and rate of dollars, decrease the amount of the expenditures in comparison to income. The feedback that I got from the people that I did speak with was that turning Gibraltar's 2 community centers into a full-on party rental every day or every weekend all through the summer brings unintended consequences of higher amounts of traffic and higher amounts of the inability for residents to maybe be able to use those facilities when they're not being used for parties. So I kind of ventured away from the idea of trying to make the selection based on how much can we rent out that facility. Again, my amount of interaction with people was fairly low. So I go back to, I think that Jess has the ability, the network in our community to be able to get more people onto the Recreation Committee. I think she has the ability to utilize her network in the farmers market, and she has seen what we've done in the past, and I think she would be a good pick. I thought that Kristen and Austin were terrific picks. I would be happy with either of them as well. And I thought our applicant pool as a whole was excellent. But I really do think that's my perspective on it.
I love it. Thank you. Councilwoman Wood, what do you think?
Okay, basically, I started out with Mike Boyer, and he had a lot of experience. He's been with Recreation for a long time, but I also agreed with Shonk and Austin Reynolds, because they're both young, and that's what we need. We want somebody that's kind of updated today and not things that we have done in the past.
Yep.
But there's a couple, I know that Shonk doesn't live close to here, and just like following the pay and everything, they're young, they want to make money, and this is really not the place to do that. But those were the 3 that I chose.
Great, thank you so much. Councilman Valentine, what do you think?
My first choice was Kristen Schonk, my second was Austin Reynolds. That's all I'll say.
Okay, Kristen, Austin. Councilman Cox, where's your head at?
Jessica, Kristen, and Austin.
Jessica, Austin. Okay. Katie, department heads, anything you'd like to add? Treasurer Fonte, you were here. Do you have any perspective you'd like to share?
Yeah, I'm not going to get into the selection, but something that council should be aware of. Amy and the Chelsea, that we engaged with trying to set the history of the rates and the income. We did a rough snapshot. It's not so rough, but it's not finite yet, but so that we could prepare something for tonight, so you would have a little bit of understanding of cost versus revenue between the 2 buildings, which might focus you a little bit better on selection and where you might want to focus on 1 or 2 buildings. the concern that I heard from Councilman Molnar, that if we get too much activity at the second building, might bring more undue stress into the community with traffic and so on and so forth. So this is what, this is the figures that, for a year snapshot in 2024. The rent, and again, these figures exemplify both buildings. They were unable to separate it, but the cost is the cost. So to run two buildings, two centers, and the rent and donation, the revenue came in for those two centers was $37,000. The utilities were $47,500. The maintenance was $66,000. Taking the director's fee, and I allowed Amy to take a percentage of that at $15,000 to run the rentals and the programs out of that. The janitorial services were $17,740. Cable was $38,000. Insurance was $20,000. DPW work associated with that building was, or buildings, was around $94,000. Miscellaneous was around $10,000. So it came up to $269,000 in cost to run both buildings. And paring that down, she revisited the labor income again, or the labor assessment to it, and settled at $232,000. So we have a cost to operate both of those buildings right now roughly at $232,000 versus income of, or revenue of $37,000 in rentals.
Thank you so much. Katie, anything you want to add from interview feedback?
Awesome interviews. They all had something to offer. It was, really good. I have a top 4. I'm having a hard time getting down to anything less than that, but I liked Jessica Moulton.
Yep.
Kristen Schonk.
Yep.
Kennedy. And Dennis Bosmer.
Okay. All right, I'm going to read some feedback. Chief Bullard and Mike, please.
For Mayor and Council, I did conduct background checks on all 7 applicants. Some discoveries were made out of 2 of the applicants, so I just thought you should know that.
Great, thank you.
So,
I'll read some feedback and then from the broader staff, just for perspective. So I will speak about Kristen first. Pros, passionate about the city, management, multitasking skills, looking for growth not only for our youth and our seniors, but everybody in between, driven, possibly long-term trajectory within the city. Cons, consider the length of commute, which I know we'd asked her about, was about 30 minutes, despite her mentioning she's here with her family often. So how long-term is it? How sustainable is the commute? How much experience is present? And is there really the proper time to devote to that? The other thing I'll mention is, I think she navigates in her current situation, albeit part-time, like a strain on resources and applying that, which I thought was another element of positivity, but I agree with some of those pros and cons sentiment. Next one here was for Jessica, just general feedback. Passionate about the city, management, multitasking skills, lives in town, readily available, mentally strong, wise, proactive, strength in social settings, social skills, not only young adults, but adults. Focus on prioritizing the needs and reorganizing, upgrading the recreation program, marketing, social media strength, mature. Cons, she manages a small business and then would potentially be taking on this role. So how do the two interplay? And I know we talked about that a little bit in the interview process. For Dennis, which was another applicant, obviously, passionate about the city, planning skills, wanted to reinvent, expand revenue with partnering with neighboring cities, team player, willing to learn things, not familiar with the past and present events, those that residents love, do not love, professional, organized. Cons, hasn't had to potentially organize all these events in scope of the Parks and Rec. And so how does that relate to the current day capabilities and experience? Feedback on Kennedy, pros, passionate about the city, social media, marketing strength, go-getter, determined, looking for growth in youth and senior events, looks at the position long-term, wanted to bring the department up to date, very well known. Cons, potential other commitments, so trying to balance and prioritize one over the other, and then the experience directly applicable to the scope of the needs moving forward. And then I think what I wanted to call out was my perspective, but before I do that, Mike, what's your head at? You obviously are a department head that has very relevant input required for this matter.
Well, I believe they all had pretty strong interviews, and it was hard to, delineate. I got it down to about 4. I'll give you my, 2 of them is Austin and Kristen. The third person, I try and nail it down to 3. I can't nail it down to 3 yet, but those are 2. I'm struggling over two different ones, but I'll just leave those 2. They seem to be a consensus of the body of.
Yeah, okay. Any other department heads want to weigh in? Simply put, I agree with a lot of sentiment that's been shared so far. I had Austin, Kristen, and Dennis as my top 3. My rationale, kind of thinking about each one of them, I thought Austin had some advantages in oversight of booking and other activities related to the YMCA role, experience with obviously the technology and operational elements of those areas, which I thought would be advantageous for our needs, in addition to the translation of local programs through a local YMCA chapter as it relates to relevance. I thought some of the other elements of the interview exposed, I would say, a really good awareness for like where we're at, and had done some research to understand the 5-year plan, some of the needs. So I thought there was a proximity to like a aligned understanding of where we're at and where we need to go. So council, I think, just to kind of summarize for you, I've taken note of all of the recommendations. The 2 most common recommendations across everybody are Austin and Kristen, followed by Jessica. And I say that because Jessica was not mentioned as a priority for some of you, but Kristen and Austin were mentioned as a priority for all of you.
Can I say one more thing?
Yeah, please.
So Jessica was my number 4. My biggest concern was the time commitment. I know she owns her own salon, and I didn't know how flexible she was going to be. It just kind of clicked with me. We now have 7 people on the Recreation Commission. So that may help with that sort of time commitment. And she's going to have help behind her. So if you want to put me down for another vote for Jessica, I'm willing to put it out there. But that was my only thing, that was my only hang up, was her time commitment. That was it.
Even if you were to add that to your list now, right, it would still be absent from others' lists. And I think this is just a good individual exercise to go through because it shows where the priority lies. And I want to make sure we're making, to the best of our ability, a decision that's generally aligned, hopefully unanimously, as well as that aligns to the feedback and the interview process. So I think if I look at that collective group of individuals between Austin, Kristen, and Jessica, based on all the details I have, I would recommend we consider Austin, but it's up to council to make that appointment. I think any of them would do a great job. So Jessica or Kristen also have my support. But it's up to your court. Any motion must lie with council. So now you have an aggregate recommendation. Again, it would be Austin and Kristen are unanimously mentioned as top priorities from everybody on this docket. Jessica is brought up by some of you, not all of you, as a priority. Council, the motion lies in your court. I myself cannot take action on this matter.
I'm going to make a motion that we appoint Austin Reynolds to the Recreation, as the Recreation Director.
I'll second.
Second by Walden. From a discussion perspective, Austin did say that he would make this his new full commitment. Obviously, he has a part-time job at the YMCA, and he would just require 2 weeks to start. So I'm just giving you that context for next steps, and that would obviously be something that city administrator have to work on per council's direction. Any other discussion on this matter? All right, Katie, please call roll.
Schumate?
Yes.
Valentine?
Yes.
Walden?
Yes.
Wood?
Yes.
Cox?
Yes.
McNabb?
Yes.
Mulnar?
Yes.
Congratulations. That motion is carried. Austin, I'm sure you're watching, and we would love to welcome you with open arms. Obviously, I know you have some procedural things to consider before any of this is formalized. Obviously, we have a contract to formalize, but at least we have a direction. To all the other applicants, number one, thank you for putting yourself forth for what was a very strong pool of talent. We hope you stay close. We hope you get involved in the commission. And we look forward to being in touch through our city administrator on next steps for the parties that were involved.
Can I add one thing to that? Would that be contingent on the city in Austin reaching a contract and asking the city attorney to draw up an initial contract for the position?
Precisely, yeah. We are making an appointment that's reliant on the actual execution of an agreement before anything is in place and any paychecks are exchanged.
I wouldn't like for him to put in his notice and quit if we don't reach a contract, so.
Precisely, and I think that's why you have an appointment, so you have your direction on next steps for working with Austin, and I'd like you to personally reach out to all the other parties to thank them for their contributions, but obviously, Austin is not in the position until a contract is reached. Any other discussion? Cool. Awesome. Next item and last item on my report is an update on strategic priorities. Council, I won't go through this exhaustively, but just want to call out a couple things. So as promised, we take our strategic priorities that we aligned on for council and we put bold updates around advancements. Couple of things I want to flag on water loss audit and flood control. We're awaiting the next round of the meter reads, which will be the beginning of April 2025, to evaluate any changes in water loss from the Brownstown meter replacement. Public, if you recall, we were able to get the Brownstown meter replaced, and we seem to be capturing water that was previously not being captured. So now we want to make sure we can assess if that's an impact, and there'll be some other process matters we'll take care of in that observation. Second thing is the leak detection began on January 27th. That's very exciting. So it's acoustic sounding of leak detection. City Administrator Blackburn's going to give an update this week, is what you were committed to, based on Banesh, who's going to be providing an update report this week. So council will send that along whenever we get that. One thing I want to flag. So right now we're getting Congresswoman Dingell, Senator Peters, Representative Linting, other parties that are reaching out, Senator Camilleri, are getting asked to us around budget requests. And we're very grateful because Dingell and Senator Peters got us the funding for the West Jefferson water main that's now in flight. Council, I'd worked with each of you to review this list previously, and we talked about the Planning and DDA Commission. At a high level, our number one ask seemed to be the Middle Gibraltar Bridge. It's been in poor critical condition on repeated inspection reports. It's a main artery in and out of our city. It needs to be addressed. So that was kind of number one on the ask. Second priority that we've put forth is stormwater management and flood control. So I know we've had a lot of discussions with all of you, but outfall valves and other elements. We're trying to tell a very succinct and very aligned story, which is we have two big problems that we need funding for. So I'll send you a copy of the email that will go to all of our elected officials that I mentioned. City Administrator Blackburn's working on formalizing some of the language that'll align with what you'd all reviewed in the last cycle. Again, we got the water main funding. We still have a lot more funding we require. But any feedback on funding priorities, those are our number 1 and 2. Okay. On the next one is the Horse Island Bridge. Final report is available this week, which is very exciting. From our engineer, we got feedback from the engineer that the concrete strength is within the range anticipated for the era of bridge construction. Positive signals. Nothing is certain without the full report. Treasurer Fonte, Councilwoman Wood, I know you're very close to this. City Administrator Blackburn, anything you want to add there?
No, just waiting on the report right now.
Awesome. So that seems to be on a data-driven path. Thank you to all parties for pushing that accordingly. The next one is the lead lines. Bids received and City Administrator Blackburn holding the pre-award meeting this week. So I want to make sure everybody's aware of that. West Jefferson Water Main, RFQ due tomorrow, so that's exciting. Pump station parts have been ordered. We're just awaiting the delivery and installation of them. City Administrator Blackburn can give an update on that. Council approved the parking lot. Some of this under the bond funding that we have on updating our parking lot. So he's working on specs and obviously working with the Infrastructure Committee and others. Roofs, council approved city administrator to go out for bids on 213, so that project's in flight. HVAC, new units being installed over the next 1 to 2 weeks. Again, funding that we're utilizing based on available funds from a DDA or broader perspective. Parking activities have been taken to address that. All of our employee purchasing policy, credit card policies, employee policies are completed. Jane Dixon is driving our zoning ordinance update committee, which some of us are sitting on. We had our last meeting on January 28th. For professional services, gas inventory was one of the things that came up. City Administrator Blackburn's got a quote. I know he's working with parties to evaluate bid requirements according to council guidance. We action required on city planner and assessor, which we've done. WCA was approved for our assessing services. City planner's up next, so keep an eye on that. And then department head Updates, appointment for Parks and Rec Director took place this evening. Update on the forensic account audit, I'll defer to Treasurer Fonte and City Attorney on any matters in that lane. We got appointments and promotions completed in our Director of Public Safety's lane, so thank you for all the great work the department's doing. And I will stop there because I think everything else has been covered. Any questions on strategic priorities? Those are just a couple of hot updates on our list.
I do.
Yeah, please.
Mr. Mayor, under number 2, the infrastructure improvement, am I to believe that under B, we're going to do an award? Or what is the meaning of a pre-award for that? Maybe I can ask that to
Yeah,
City
City Commissioner Blackburn, you
Administrator.
want to address that? He's asking about the pre-award meeting.
For the lead lines? For the lead
Yes.
lines?
Yes.
We are having a meeting with, we're starting off with the low bidder right now. The bids came in last week, and we want to have an interview with him to make sure that everything is in line. What we're looking for not to happen is a contractor to look at that he underbid and just ends up walking off and quitting on the job. So we're going,
Well, that's what you have a bond for.
yep,
Right.
yep, but still getting somebody else in there, and it slows the process up and all the other stuff. So we're going to be interviewing, and myself and Rains.
So this is just with one bidder?
We're starting off with the lowest bidder right now, yes.
So as you know, that the treasurer and members of the infrastructure committee had questions on how we should proceed with this, because it's a $400,000 job, and with the unknown amount of inspection fees and so on and so forth, we had pretty much a pretty definitive list to look at. One of them was the evaluation history of each of the contractors, taking the top 4 bidders instead of just selecting the low bid, because we do have the right to refuse any bid. To take that, and there's a deep dive that they can do on that. That was kind of outlined today in our engineering meeting. So I guess I'd like to ask, because I'll stop doing this, but the recommendations that we made doesn't sound like it goes anywhere. So is this the way we're going to do business here, or are we going to entertain some of the professional recommendations that both the infrastructure committee had and your treasurer had to Rains on how to proceed with this project? Because,
Yes, all those questions were forwarded to Rains.
and what was the response?
I did not get a response today yet.
Why are we proceeding with this right now?
Well, we're trying to get pre-award meetings scheduled so we can try and get something available for the March 10th meeting.
Well, I'm seriously at a loss in my former profession, and there's people on this dais right now that can speak to this, is that usually an evaluation of the top 4 bidders, and the reason I selected the 4th, because the 4th bidder was Britta Gary, who put the middle jib water line in, and we know that they're a responsible bidder. They might be the highest of the 3 below them, but it gives pause to why you should have these evaluations. These are all outlined in the bid specification. I don't know why we're not adhering to that procedure. Because I think that the council would like to see that evaluation before we go into a pre-award. If you're going to do a pre-award with 1, you might as well do it with 4. But prior to that, the evaluation performance should be on everybody's desk to look at. That's simple. So I would encourage to stop this pre-award meeting on 2/24, because what that does right now, so that the public understands and the taxpayers understand, that without the full benefit of the knowledge, the low bid can turn into a $600,000 job. The grant is for $400,000. We've already got pre-design and costs associated with that, which right now, to date, we can't find on how much was spent in the, call it the prenuptials of putting this job together. We talked about the arrangements in our contracts right now with engineering that are subjected to terms of interpretation and not by us. We don't control that factor right now. It seems that all this is being controlled by the engineer. And in order to get a solid focus on what this is going to cost us, the evaluation performance for, as we suggested, of the top four bidders are essential. So that's my ask, and it was my ask, and it was the infrastructure's ask, and I'd like to know why we're not proceeding in that direction.
Yeah, it sounds like there's obviously clearly some alignment that needs to be achieved here. So as Councilman Cox, are you involved in this discussion at all? I know we talked about some of this previously.
I'm in agreement with the treasurer's requirement.
I mean, I think Mike, I think it's clear to this discussion that you and Treasurer Fonte and Councilman Cox need to align on what is requests that relate to this pre-award meeting from experts sitting as your peers here. So I don't think we can solve that
It's not a
right
meeting
now.
to award the bid. It's a meeting to talk to the contractor to make sure that they understand their bid and that they're qualified, and we look at their records. It does not mean we're awarding anything after talking to them.
You do that with all the bidders. Whatever the city selects is, in my scenario, I selected four, only because the fourth bidder was a proven factor doing work in the city already.
I don't think we're going to do anything to solve anything sitting here talking about it together. I think I would request that you all sit down after this meeting.
I'm done sitting down. I put my request in, and that's about as far as I can go. I identified what should happen. My identification is what it is. The infrastructure volunteers identified their commitment and their proposal on how this should proceed, and that's where we're at. It's up to council to do the rest, so I'll leave it at that.
I appreciate that. Heard loud and clear. I've spoken with all parties on this matter, for which I suggested alignment and discussion in advance of any meetings. So sounds like that may not be happening, and that's obviously an issue as it relates to discussion that's had right now. So thank you. Any further questions or comments on the strategic priorities, unless there's any action that needs to be taken by council that they feel fit? Great. Council reports. I'm going to turn it over to Councilman Valentine on Recreation Commission and 33rd District Court.
No report.
Any questions for Councilman Valentine? Councilwoman Wood, Beautification and Historical Museum.
Okay, beautification, I have no report. We will be having a meeting on March 3rd, and we'll be going over all the things that we've ordered and plants and whatnot, so I don't have a report tonight. And our historical museum will be open on March 2nd from 2 to 4.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. Any questions for Councilman Wood, or Councilwoman Wood, sorry? Great. Councilman Cox, Planning DDA.
No report on planning. 3 updates on the DDA. We received and filed an amended 2024-2025 budget as of 2/18. We approved the final contract with Wade Services for the amusement rides for the 4th of July. And we updated the beautification budget from $10,000 to $15,000. That's my report.
Any questions for Councilman Cox? Councilman McNabb, Waterways.
I have no report at this time, thank you.
Any questions for Councilman McNabb? Councilman Molnar.
2 items, I know I mentioned it several times. On Saturday, April 5th, is our inaugural River Rat Tiller Run. It's the opening of the boating season here. I think all the ice will be melted, or we might have to dodge a few floaties, but it should be a really good time. The funds will go to Gibraltar Duck Hunters, and we're getting some sponsors, we're getting some people signed up, and it's starting to get pretty exciting. So that should be fun. The other thing I wanted to point out was, and it just kind of dawned on me to just call out one person who I thought has really, in the 13 or 14 months that I've been involved here, has just kind of started to shine really well, and it's it coincides with her not being here tonight, but I really wanted to point out Amy's performance and her confidence, and she's really taken initiative, and she's worked with Rich quite a bit to speak up and I'm just really happy with her performance and the the confidence that she's shown, and again, working with Rich has been a really great thing for our community. The dollars that come, that go out of here have never been tracked better. I'm confident of that. We have a very, very watchful, two very watchful sets of eyes on the dollars that are being spent here. I don't think your dollars could be, our dollars could be held to a better set of custodians than we have right now. So I think that that's something that we've excelled at, and it's thanks to Rich, thanks to Amy, and just wanted to call out that performance, and that's all I have to say.
Well said. Councilman Mueller, any questions for him before we move on to the next report? Councilman Walden.
No report.
Any questions for Councilman Walden? All right, we do not have a report from our Parks and Recreation Director this evening, but I will turn it over to our city attorney if there's anything you'd like to address with council.
Thank you. Yeah, I have two things that I'd like to address. First, we had a meeting with Plant Moran today, not getting into details, but we hope that we'll have a final report in about 4 weeks. They have a couple more things that they have to do. They've done quite a deep dive so far. Very deep dive, and the plan as of now is they will actually come in and present to council their findings once they have a final report. So that's where we stand with the Plant Moran audit.
Awesome.
And then circling back to Fun Time Amusement Park. So I've sent them several demand letters. They finally, through the resident agent, has acknowledged receipt, but I have not actually heard from anyone at Fun Time Amusement Park. If you guys recall, this was the company that created all the heartburn and headaches for us last year in the summertime. So just updating council, they've received the communication, or at least acknowledged receipt, but they still have not contacted me as far as making payment of the $4,000 back to the city that we put in deposit. So I'll leave it up to council how they want to proceed with Fun Time Amusement Park at this time.
What would be your recommendation on our next level of action?
So the next level of action is the council could elect to file a lawsuit to sue them for return of the deposit. It is a $4,000 deposit. It's going to be up to council, though, if they want to pursue it through litigation. There's obviously a cost associated with litigation, and this is one of those situations where, to be blunt, the cost versus what you'll get back will outweigh it, but it's also sometimes people will make a decision in these types of litigations of principle. So it's really up to council how they want to proceed on this one.
Any perspective, council?
Mayor, may I say something to attorney?
Absolutely.
Did, maybe I missed this, did you correspond with them on a demand yet?
No, their resident agent finally reached out to me, who does not work for them. He's their CPA, and said that he will forward it to his client, and that's the last I've heard.
And remind me,
Was that through communication only, or through correspondence, or?
Yes.
So,
Anthony sent a demand for the
okay.
dollars.
Yeah, I've sent a few demands.
Yeah, okay. So
Yes.
Do you, perhaps the most logical next step, I know in the demands you sent, I mean, perhaps we put one final time-bound window on that, since the CPA's acknowledged receipt of a response for which would align to our next council meeting, for which council could then take any further action they see fit.
Could do that, or if council just, I could do one more. I put a 14-day window on the last one. So now it's just, we're kind of getting to the point where, do we want to act on it or not? Because I've already sent the final demand.
Yeah, I mean, council, obviously, I believe in principle. If we rewind the tape, just to make sure we're all aligned here, right? We took action after we investigated and found deficiencies that risked safety. So we made the right decision above and beyond. I'm grateful for all the teams that came together on it. Obviously, that led to a lot of media activity amongst other social activity. So it was not positive, I'm sure, for the brand and reputation of the company involved. I would say for the juice worth the squeeze on the dollar amount for the lawsuit, I think Anthony's being blunt, which is that the dollars invested, you're probably not going to get dollars back. But if council wants to stand on principle, I will stand on principle all day with them. So I'll be looking for your guidance.
And I'll add, in a perfect world scenario, a simple lawsuit's filed for breach of contract. They never respond. I don't know who this company really is, if they even have.
Are they a Michigan-based company?
Pardon me?
Are they a Michigan-based company?
They're Michigan-based, but they may not even respond to the lawsuit, so I could possibly get a quick default If they do respond, then it will go on longer, but if they don't respond, then we get a default judgment against them, and we may be able to collect, we may not. It's just one of those, I won't know until I were to file the suit, and if they respond, so.
It's probably not a good practice for us just to let it go.
Agreed. Yeah, and that's why I'll stand with you all day. I need your action, though.
I'd like to suggest maybe a closed session. I don't know anything about this Trush lawsuit. I wasn't aware that there was a Trush lawsuit.
Yeah.
If so,
There's not a Trush lawsuit, to be clear. There's a lawsuit filed where he's indirectly involved. It's been ongoing for quite some time. It predates me being here. So we could discuss that, but it's a separate lawsuit, which has been brought up in council meetings before.
Correct. And not related to the topic at hand. Council, motion's in your court unless you want some time.
Yeah, we'll make a motion to pursue collection.
I'll second that motion.
So just to be clear on it, pursue collection, I've already sent demand letters. Would it be to go ahead and file it'd be a district court action against them because of the dollar amount?
If your window of your demand is if you put a time frame on it and it's eclipsed, then yes, the next step would be to file the action, and I would support that.
I sent the final one on the 1st of this month and gave them 14 days, to which it's been crickets, so.
Yep. So you have a motion. Do you want the motion wording to be more clear? Is that what I'm hearing?
Just to give me clear direction on what council wants me to do, that's all I'm asking.
My motion would be at the deadline of the letter that you gave them to respond by. If they don't respond by then, to initiate a lawsuit.
Great. Katie is capturing that. Is there a second for that motion?
Second.
Second by McNabb. Any further discussion on this matter?
how much is that going to cost us to get $4,000?
It honestly all depends. So my contract is I have a significantly reduced hourly rate for the city for my litigation services. And like I said, the perfect world scenario would be I file a very simple lawsuit, which should not take a lot of time to draft. They don't respond, and I get a default from the court. That's a perfect world scenario. Does perfect world happen? Most of the times it doesn't. But in this scenario, it could, just because I don't know what type of business they are or if they're even going to respond to a lawsuit. If they do respond, then I would end up in the district court. But being that it's district court, they really limit on what you can do. It's not a circuit court action, so the fees should stay down. And I'll do my best to keep the fees down in the situation.
And we've asked for the action of the lawsuit, but obviously we would hope that you'd be keeping us up to date on the progression of that path.
Of course.
So when you file the suit, it would be in Wayne County?
No, it'd be local district court is where I would start.
Okay, so do you know where they're located in Michigan?
I'd have to look again. The resident agent, though, is it's in Michigan, but not around here.
So they'd have to travel here?
Yeah, I would make the
good.
argument that they availed themselves to their jurisdiction when they entered into a contract with the city of Gibraltar here.
You should make it as hard as you can within the...
I will do,
The dollar
my
amounts.
legal duties is what I will do.
I appreciate that.
Yes.
Any further discussion on this matter? Katie, please call roll whenever you're ready.
Valentine?
Yes.
Walden?
Yes.
Wood?
Yes.
Cox?
Yes.
McNabb?
Yes.
Molnar.
Yes.
Schumate?
Yes. Motion carried. Thank you, city attorney, for updates on both fronts.
No problem.
Any further from you?
That's all I have.
City Administrator Blackburn, you have items A through C, and then don't forget about your additions, which we'll hit on, which is janitorial and senior bus.
First item I have on the agenda is for City Council to approve me posting the open DPW position within the Teamsters Union. If nobody within the Teamsters Union signs that posting for that position, for the city to solicit applications for the position.
Motion to authorize to advertise and recommend a new hire for approval for DPW utility worker.
Motion by Cox. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Walden. Any discussion on this matter? Katie, please call roll.
Walden?
Yes.
Wood?
Yes.
Cox?
Yes.
McNabb?
Yes.
Molnar.
Yes.
Schumate?
Yes.
Valentine?
Yes.
Thank you. Back to you.
All right, second item I have is renewal of the GIS contract.
Council motion being your court, obviously someone was even brought up.
I'll make the motion, sorry. I'll make the motion to approve the renewal.
Motion by Molnar, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Cox, any discussion on this matter?
Is the cost fee in line with what they did last year, or is this a significant increase in the renewal?
It was $80 higher than this previous year.
Thank you.
Great. Any further discussion? Katie, we'll let you call roll whenever you're ready.
Wood?
Yes.
Cox?
Yes.
McNabb?
Yes.
Mulner?
Yes.
Schumate?
Yes.
Valentine?
Yes.
Walden?
Yes.
Great. Mike, back to you.
Third item I have is approving the new building department fee schedule. You had heard from the building department earlier. Nothing has really raised, some have lowered, most has stayed the same, and they just restructured a few things. So I'm asking for approval of the new fee schedule.
I'll also be looking for a motion to approve the proposed fee schedule in your packet.
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Walden, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Valentine. Council, any discussion?
Just want to make sure that these rates have not increased. I mean, the way their contract is written, they get 95% of the fee, and the city gets 5%. So if the rates go up, we're not benefiting from it.
Yep, only fractional benefit, I agree completely. That's why I want to bring Laura here and Carson. Obviously, we have an active motion that's been seconded, but it's a great flag, and we were just assured that that's not the case on public record, so I certainly hope that is not the case. I've tried to cross-reference. I've cross-referenced to the best of my ability as well, but to your point, right, there's new categorization, there's some that have dropped, but I'd be open up to any other discussion before we vote on this matter.
Mayor, may I?
Yeah, please.
Councilman Cox, at the Planning Commission, the question was asked, what's the revenue to date? Do you recall what that number is?
I believe that Amy said 116,000?
Yeah, I thought it was 150 or 160. I know that, just so the public knows that, because it really wasn't really divulged to the public in the past, not on this, not with this council, but formerly that, we didn't have much revenue stream coming from that department, especially when the city of Trenton was handling it. So I believe that on an average, we're somewhere around, I'm going to just be conservative, around $30,000 a month of where McKenna brings in revenue, we get 5% of that. So that's a little over $300,000 a year, which is a question that a lot of people asked the last government, what that revenue stream was. So being upfront with everybody, that's exactly where we're heading. And Amy was quite diligent and upfront the other day at the Planning Commission and divulged those numbers. So in case the public wasn't aware of it, I wanted to make sure that, and I'm not saying anything negative about McKenna, I think they're doing a great job, a fantastic job, but that's the revenue.
I will echo that sentiment, and obviously that's the face value dollar amounts that are very important for us to all look at, right. Keeping in mind, though, that they provide the infrastructure and personnel to operate that, right, which would otherwise be a cost to the city to do so. So just want to make sure we're all calibrated in that bigger context, right? It's not just giving them dollars, it's they bring in dollars, they manage all of the operations,
Right.
We get a piece of that pie.
Right, and I think, part of that was with the rental property inspections and the ongoing inspections that we have now. So I think it's a great thing. Whether in the future you change the direction of that, but that's what it is right now.
Yep, absolutely. Thank you. We're in an active motion, sorry, please, public. We're in active motion, so any further discussion on that matter? And if not, Katie can call roll for us.
Cox?
Yes.
McNabb?
Yes.
Mulner?
Yes.
Schumate?
Yes.
Valentine?
Yes.
Walden?
Yes.
Wood?
Yes.
Awesome. Item D, which was added, is the senior bus driver. Council, just to call your attention, your packet, it was sent to you electronically, but Katie had kindly printed out copies of that to you. And so really, that's going to be, you'll see the email here. I'll just verbalize a couple things. Senior bus driver, As a motion to authorize the posting for hiring one senior bus driver. You'll see that also printed out for you as a example of a posting. So we'd want one motion.
Mr. Mayor, the paper that you're lifting in front of the citizens.
Oh, I'm sorry, that's a part of our packet for another topic. I apologize.
Okay.
I'm sorry about that. It was a part of a packet earlier. My sincere apologies for that. In this paper that I'm referring to for council is a senior bus driver. And with the senior bus driver, we are looking for a motion from council to authorize the posting or the hiring of that position. With that posting, we'd like to make sure that we can look for an individual who would work in the schedules that Chelsea has outlined in her packet email that was sent to you, that allows us to cover the shifts that are now being exposed by not having the senior bus driver support. So with that being said, I'd like to make sure that we have a motion to authorize that hire or that posting for that hire with the available information provided in your packet.
Make a motion to post.
Motion by McNabb to
Driver.
post that position. Is there a second for that motion?
Second.
Second by Councilwoman Wood. Any further discussion on that matter? All right, Katie, please call a roll.
McNabb.
Yes.
Mulnar.
Yes.
Schumate.
Yes.
Valentine.
Yes.
Walden.
Yes.
Wood.
Yes.
Cox.
Yes.
Great. The second layer of that is, as far as the motion goes, the current rate for that position is $14 an hour. If council so chooses, some of our other part-time positions have a rate of $14.5 an hour. So if council so chose, they would have the opportunity to adjust that compensation from $14 to $14.50 to align to other part-time positions within the city. If you did do that, that would obviously make sure that that would not only apply to the current position that's being proposed and authorized, but would allow us to take the other two drivers and, provide them a 50-cent per hour raise accordingly. So council, that falls in your court if you so chose. Again, we could keep it at 14, that's the current rate. Just a thought around raising it to be 14.5, aligned with other part-time positions in the city. So we'll be looking for a motion if you so chose on that. If not, we will keep the compensation at 14. I just want to flag that for you as we were looking at compensation for other positions.
I would make a motion.
Motion to.
$14.50,
inc-
if you're making all the part-time the same amount.
Yeah. And that was the logic behind it, but there's a motion by Wood for raising that senior bus driver compensation from 14 to 14.5.
Second.
Is there a second by Valentine? Any further discussion on that matter?
No, I mean, they gotta have a CDL. Takes quite a bit.
Agreed. It's a significant ask. I agree.
You're just gonna pull them off the street. There's a passenger endorsement is optional, but anybody with a CDL would
Yep.
like to get more than 14.
All right, so we have a motion and a second. Any other further discussion on that matter? All right, Katie, please call a roll.
Mulnar.
Yes.
Schumate.
Yes.
Valentine.
Yes.
Walden.
Yes.
Wood.
Yes.
Cox.
Yes.
McNabb.
Fantastic. So then we'll have to make sure we work with payroll and other parties to implement that adjustment. But council, thanks for doing that. The other one was item E, and that was the janitor for city facilities that we added. The goal was to take a look at the contract. So just for context, we need to take a look at our janitorial services. And not only do we have our city hall facilities, we have the community centers. The Teamsters agreement obviously has language that was included in the printout for you. Section 12 addresses this, which is the Teamsters Union gives the right for the employer to hire a part-time individual to take care of janitorial services. With that being said, I would recommend that we consider a motion to pursue the posting and hiring of a janitor that would work in a part-time capacity. Up to 20 hours is what we had forecasted. That would allow us to have a one-stop point of contact for all janitorial services across the community center and city facilities. So that's my proposal that I want to throw in front of you. And I want to see if you had a motion to authorize that. Obviously, the compensation could be aligned with our part-time working, which is 14.5 an hour, but that's up to council to consider your motion.
My question, well, I guess I'll wait till there's a motion for discussion.
So we'll be looking for a motion to authorize the posting for hiring a janitorial service for city facilities and buildings.
I make that motion.
Motion by Wood, is there a second?
I'll second the motion.
Discussion.
Thank you.
Yeah.
My question would be, is that a Teamster position or is that a at-will position?
And I'd love the city attorney to provide comment on that. Just as we look at the Teamster agreement, I printed out the relevant component of that language, but how would you classify that position?
Actually, I gotta look at it. I did not look at this part for that question, so.
While you're looking, may I?
Yeah, please.
Yeah, while you have your nose in the contract, just so council knows, the contract allows for a subcontract too. So if council chooses to look at an outside source that's bonded, you have that luxury to do that also. Furthermore, my opinion, and only my opinion, is that one person isn't going to quite accomplish this task in that amount of time, especially when the rec center or center is going. So that's something else to think about. The other concern that I want you to note that when I first entered the building, one of my first questions was who handles the janitorial services for security reasons. People leave checks on the desk, sometimes cash money is left out. There's a whole sort of things. We have a real small community here, so if somebody from the community tends to want to look at people's desks and find sensitive information, that's a possibility too. So those things are things that I offered in my first blush at this back in June, because a lot of times a janitorial service, especially in-house one, will sometimes enlighten more people than what you want, especially if you're not a good housekeeper at your desk. So,
Yeah, to piggyback on that, it's a position that I think has very little supervision by nature of the multiple different buildings that they would be working at. So they would have to be able to operate without having a direct supervisor in a lot of roles. I think that maybe entertaining an outsourced vendor to provide that service, kind of similarly to our building department, where when we've had people switched out when they weren't fulfilling our expectations, and it was a lot easier than having to go through a employee separation or something of that nature. So it certainly made that process a lot easier.
That's a good call.
RFQ would give us a good cost evaluation between a part-time position and outsourcing as well. So,
Yeah.
exactly. Might want to entertain going out for bid.
And I know we have a resident here that owns a business that does that.
I like that.
I don't know much about it, and I don't know their names. I just know there's somebody here. I think their business is off 94 Belleville Road area, if it's the same one I think it is.
I'd add to that from a legal standpoint, any third party, just make certain they're bonded and insured. Most cleaning services that are good for that exact reason. If they're going to be around government documents, we need to make certain there's some bonding and insurance in place.
Great call. Okay, great feedback. So it sounds like we should take all that into consideration as we look to RFQ or authorize this solicitation for service.
Yeah, I'd make a motion to put together an RFQ and,
We already have a motion on the floor to post the janitorial.
Do we want to revise that motion if council wanted to consider that in context of the discussion we had, or do we feel like that would be a part of the move to authorize the process?
does the janitorial service go into the police department?
Yes.
They do.
Yes.
Okay. Yikes.
But I think the motion on the floor right now is to hire a part-time position or authorize.
The posting.
The
Yeah,
advertisement
can you
for
read that?
hiring?
Can you please reread the motion you have captured currently?
What I have is to post the hiring for janitorial services for city buildings.
It does not specify the detail of the part-time element, but it says to post services, so if you want to adjust that to reflect some of the discussion we had tonight.
yeah, or we can vote on this one and start a new one. If, I guess ultimately whatever you guys prefer.
I think all the points that have been raised are really important ones, right? So the motion right now is to authorize the pursuit of that, but does not specify part-time or individual. If you feel like that doesn't capture the steps we need to take, then we can, I would say, revise it.
Chief, if I may, in order to get into your section, they have to be fingerprinted and go through a background check?
We do a background check, an iChat, and a fingerprint.
Thanks.
I think it's, at the end of the day, it's just really important that we make sure that where you abide by the terms of the contract, Teamsters Union, right, contract, I'd shared that language. So perhaps right now, it seems like there's a motion, and Katie, please read that one more time so we're all crystal clear on what that says.
To post the hiring for janitorial services for city buildings.
Okay. Condition, maybe we use that as a starting point for which we can then, please go ahead.
Well, this had, I can't find it in my packet right now, I'm sorry, but.
No, you're good.
It referred us to the Teamsters contract. Yeah, but where's, yeah.
Section 12, I believe 32.4.
Okay, hiring a janitorial service not to, it's a part-time position.
Exactly.
So
Treasurer Fonte, where are you referring to on the subcontracting
There's a
component?
subcontractor clause in there, and I think if my memory serves me right, as long as the DPW isn't deprived any work, you can subcontract your work. And that's not only for janitorial service, that's water mains or anything that,
Okay, so may I summarize here? We need to get the city attorney's eyes to look at all these details. Let's just start there, right? We have a motion that's active that does not specify anything other than pursue the
part-time janitorial service.
part-time janitorial service. So I would recommend we vote on that motion. We let the city attorney look into all details to make sure we're abiding by contractual terms. City administrator, as department head, can work on next steps in informing council of the path considerations. That would be my recommendation. So I would say we have an active motion. We have a discussion that's now complete unless there's any other topics. Katie, please call roll.
Schumate?
Yes.
Valentine?
Yes.
Walden?
Yes.
Wood?
Yes.
Cox?
Yes.
McNabb?
Yes.
Mulnar?
Yes.
Okay, motion carried. So obviously, City Administrator Blackburn, there's some work to do there to work with the city attorney to understand the opportunities as relates to abiding by the contract. Anything else on your lane, City Administrator Blackburn?
That's it for tonight.
Awesome, thank you so much. Clerk Tomasic, take it to you.
Yes, on my report tonight, I just want to give a quick refresher and some information on the Freedom of Information Act, also known as FOIA. FOIA is a federal law that promotes transparency and accountability in the government, including your local government. FOIA grants the public the right to access public bodies' records, ensuring residents can be informed about government operations and decisions. And under FOIA, individuals and organizations can request documents that are not readily available to the public. And while FOIA promotes transparency, it also allows the public body to charge fees for processing these requests. These fees typically cover the costs for searching, reviewing, copying, redacting, and mailing such records. Fees can vary depending on multiple factors, including the complexity of the request. And fees may also be waived or reduced in certain circumstances as allowed by the FOIA Act. So, please note, due to increased time and costs associated with FOIA requests, moving forward, all requests that surpass 15 minutes to complete will be subject to fees in accordance with the FOIA law. However, as always, requesters can still submit a fee waiver request, which will be reviewed and determined at the discretion of the FOIA coordinator. The City of Gibraltar has a FOIA policy and guidelines that's in alignment with the federal FOIA law. And while this policy was adopted in 2015 by City Council, it is still in alignment with the FOIA law today. And the FOIA policy and guidelines are available on the city's website, and a copy is also provided in council's packet for their information. Anyone who'd like to make a FOIA request can also find the request form on the website or at City Hall. That's all I have to report.
Any questions for Clerk Tomasic or comments there? I know we had some discussions on that. Make sure we're abiding by the role that Katie has, please.
Who is the FOIA coordinator?
The clerk,
Who does the redacting of FOIA information?
the clerk, the FOIA coordinator.
That's you, okay.
I guess, have we discussed the waivers? So, right now, it's unilaterally up to the clerk as to who gets waivers and who doesn't?
When a waiver is submitted, it's the clerk's discretion.
Okay. And I guess, what practices do you put in place to use your discretion?
Anthony, would you like to jump in with us, please?
Well, I don't know what discretions you specifically put in place, but as FOIA coordinator, they generally have the discretion for waivers. People submitted a formal waiver at that point, and they need to put in writing why they're requesting it. The law, most of the time, will err on the side of waivers if it's for what's considered a public purpose. So an example that would be, let's say I'm a developer, and I want a FOIA information as it relates to developments. If I'm going to benefit personally from the information I get, then that's not grounds for a waiver because that's a personal benefit. But if it's something that is intended to benefit the greater public, then usually waivers will be granted, and courts are generally more liberal in the granting of waivers. If people can file lawsuits on FOIA fees, and they do all the time, and the way the FOIA statute is written, if they're successful in a FOIA challenge, then they'd be entitled to attorney's fees too. So that's high-level FOIA.
Is that a when in doubt? If it's not clearly for commercial interest, then we always waive fees?
I don't know if that's a policy per se, but I think most coordinators probably do that just to be on the safe side.
And so Treasurer Fonte, before you served up here and you were FOIAing information for the bridge, did you have to pay fees for that information?
Yes, I paid fees for it, and then there was some that I didn't pay fees. I think I paid maybe $120, $125. Here's the situation, so everyone understands. I filed an appeal against to the city clerk, not to the city clerk, but to the mayor, because the way the FOIA policy reads is that it's a little gray about an appeal. So I filed it anyways to City Administrator Blackburn and the mayor, because I've seen the divisiveness of the community with FOIA documents, and I was perplexed by it because I heard from some community members that this was not being paid for from both sides of the aisle. And being a FOIA requester myself with the Horse Island Bridge, I knew I was paying for some of these documents. So that was my concern. My concern wasn't that I was paying for them. My concern was if people are getting FOIA documents free to divide a city, how can that be for the betterment of the community? I guess I didn't ask for a waiver. I was given some documents that were free, but the salvation of the Horse Island Bridge for its historical value and the reason why it was going under the wrecking ball against the contract terms of the federal government was just daunting to me. We just wanted the bridge to be looked at from an engineering perspective instead of a political perspective. That's what that campaign was about. In this case, what is the betterment of the community? Is it one side against the other? Is it saving a bridge for a community that's got historical value that goes back 100 years? Is it, my concern was the discretion of a FOIA coordinator. What shades of gray does somebody look at? And I'm not speaking for Clerk Tomasic. I'm just looking at a clerk that has that discretionary power. And I think you just heard from the attorney. I don't want to put words in your mouth, Anthony, but it's discretionary, and it's whatever somebody in that position might feel like granting something free. So I thought, for the betterment of the community, is that everybody should pay for a FOIA request. And if you have a financial hardship, there's a waiver request for that. That takes the gray area out of it. It takes the responsibility or the burden upon a city clerk to weigh factors on what is emotional, what do I see, and what do I see as fair or unfair, and what might be right for one side or what right for the other side. I thought that it was just a simple, you pay for it, and then you have it. And the other part is that as a treasurer, as a custodian of the funds, her work is valuable. So when she starts chasing around files and have to uncover files and sort files and redact files, there's a cost to that. There's the cost to the printer, there's the cost of the paper, there's cost. And Any business that you handle those kind of situations realizes that cost. So my feeling was, in my appeal, was to have everybody pay for their documents unless there's a financial hardship. That was it. No, I don't know what I heard tonight. If that's the case, I understand the 15-minute rule, but I sense what I heard was that it's still under the discretionary responsibility of the FOIA coordinator. Am I right on that?
Yeah, and just to make
So
sure.
nothing, what I'm saying is nothing changed.
Well, something changed, right? So right now, we, per our meeting for which you, myself, Clerk Tomasic had sat down and discussed this matter, we had said we want to remove the subjectivity, but still respect the role of our FOIA coordinator, who was Clerk Tomasic. So what changed was now every single FOIA will be hit with a charge. So for example, in your previous experiences prior to being treasurer, as we discussed in that meeting, you had, we were laughing about it, right? You had a stack of paper that was like this for one of the FOIA requests. And so part of the charging, from what she explained to us, was that takes a lot of time, energy, resources, ink, paper, all the things you just mentioned, so you got charged. There's other times where you didn't get charged, right? Proactively, no waiver, if I recall correctly. What we said was, I first off think we should be respecting Clerk Tomasic, that she's never once introduced political bias into the subjective discretion role. I hope we're not accusing her of that, number one. And number two, what changed was we said, there is no subjectivity there. Everybody gets charged. But there is a waiver. That waiver, Anthony described, is in place, and that waiver could be submitted by a party, just like you could have in that situation. And then there's two things that determine the success or lack thereof of the waiver. Is that, well, who determines the waiver? Who produced that waiver?
It would be the clerk that would make the determination.
No, I mean, the
because
waivers,
FOIA
the
coordinator-
waivers guardrails, like the waivers design, like who?
The federal government determines that waiver,
So-
which the state courts will interpret it with their own thing. So what happens is, so waivers can be submitted, and it's up to the person requesting the documents to submit a waiver. It's not up to the clerk to present them with the waiver, it's up to the person requesting. And the standards courts will look at is whether disclosure will contribute to public understanding of government operations and whether the disclosure will benefit the general public or just the requester. So if it's the requester, like I gave the example, you have a developer who wants to use Freedom of Information Act to get information on property, and it's clearly going to benefit just that developer, and it's not for the public benefit at all. That would not be, that's a clear cut, no waiver would be granted in that situation.
And that waiver judgment comes from the judge?
No, that waiver judgment comes from the clerk. If the clerk,
But that's still a subjective thing for the clerk to determine, right?
it's based on those standards which they have to look at. They have to take those into consideration. If the clerk, though, denies a waiver, there is means for the person who gets the denial to go to court and ask for the court to take under consideration that denial. If that happens, then we would be subject to paying the attorney's fees for that person to get an order, and it could be it could be $100 fee, let's say, that to print those documents. But the court will say, the court will make the ultimate determination at that point, is this to benefit the public? And if the court says yes, it's to benefit the public, then they'll say the whole purpose of Freedom of Information Act is to make it easy for people to get government documents, to make it accessible for them to do it. And if it's truly to benefit the government or the general public, then the government has a duty to hand it over at that point. So it's just be aware of the possibility if the clerk were to deny waivers, which there are clear-cut situations which they should, without a doubt. There should be denials of waivers. But there's some areas where I may say it should be waived, and someone may disagree with me. But ultimately, the court would make that decision, and if we're wrong in not granting the waiver, then we'd be on the hook for the attorney fees and whatever sanctions the court imposes.
So for clarity, the FOIA documents that we have on our website, those are federal documents, those are from the federal, or is?
Based on, Michigan has their own, they've adopted the federal, so Michigan has their own
So
FOIA.
is there anything in those documents, because what I see on them is approved by council or something by council 2015. So are those, is there anything in that document that's custom blended to our city here to where we're granting some powers that maybe don't need to be there, or granting subjectivity that doesn't need to be there, to where everything should be just black and white, and then if the federal, or the federal mandate says a waiver is required, provide that waiver without fear for a lawsuit, because for $285, we just recently seen, anybody can go down to Wayne County, file a lawsuit. So it's, I don't know why we fear that for a
Can I say
lawsuit.
something?
Yeah.
I trust Clerk Tomasic to do the right thing. I don't know why we have to spend so much time talking about this.
Well, because, because.
Please, public, it's not a public comment session.
To answer your question, your views might not be the same as mine, and we all have different views, and I don't think anybody would want to be in a position to have to make that subjectivity. It's just, it's the same thing that we have with pending litigations and everything else. So let's just be clear. It's nothing to do with not respecting her position or anything. It's the way I'm looking at the interpretation and what I've seen what the community has done with the betterment of the community with these FOIA documents. So that becomes a problem, and then I associate costs with that, and then.
Please, this is not a public comment session. Please respect that, please.
So
I've asked
you're
once.
hearing the difference between paying for it and not paying. You're hearing it right now. That's what the problem is. And if it was fair across the board, then that's the way I look at it and how it should be interpreted, and the city gets its reimbursement for her precious time spent for it. Now, if the law says that she has that subjectivity, then that's what the law is. I'm 100% behind it. But if the law doesn't say, if that's council's interpretation that put this FOIA together, that she, or the clerk has that FOIA discretion, then my suggestion would be to encourage council to review that and take a look at it. And whatever you decide, that's fine. That was my appeal.
We
Still think she's going to do the right thing, so
If I may.
Do you think maybe the next one will or won't? That becomes the
And
problem.
that's, best operating procedures are not to rely on trust, but to rely on objective measures. If there's just an objective measure to where there's no individual trust that's required, that's the best possible scenario for us to be in.
And what we've done from previous to present is clerk has now stated she will charge everybody. Now, what sounds like the crux of this discussion is the federal and state law relative to a waiver criteria, right? So Anthony's been working closely to look at all of that information. I think that's what you're hanging up on, is like, where's the subjectivity in the waiver element? So we've advanced it to be more objective. I'm hearing concerns about the subjectivity. As I mentioned earlier, I don't think we should be questioning the integrity of the coordination and Clerk Tomasic making political decisions, but I hear you on the waiver element, and what I'm hearing from Anthony is that's a state and federal situation.
Is the subjectivity, though, is that part of the
So what the state and federal law is it gives those areas. It's not defined beyond that.
Yeah.
So it will ultimately be down to the discretion of the FOIA coordinator to determine with those parameters, is this a waivable FOIA request?
So on another scenario, if you would just say a waiver will be granted for financial hardship, can you just say that? And take the whole discretionary thing out? If you took that clause out, would we be breaking the law?
Yes, you have to allow a waiver for those reasons because the courts and judges will say FOIA is intended to make it accessible for the public to get government documents which affect the public. And now I get where you're saying what affects the public. That's the area that the discretion's left to the FOIA coordinator to make that determination. And if they say, you know what, I'm not granting the waiver, then there's the next step where they can go to court, and then the court will make the ultimate determination if the clerk is right or wrong. That's how the law is written, and that's how it's established.
But you're not denying the request. You're just asking for
A
fair
fee.
payment for the fee, right?
Correct. And at that point, they could file suit to say, okay, I don't want to pay, I'm going to put the request on hold, and the court can make a determination.
Okay.
I'm just explaining to you guys the law and
Yeah,
how this
appreciate
process
that.
works.
And I appreciate Clerk Tomasic for bringing this. We had a meeting on it, we want to bring it. So, and all we want to do is drive objectivity and eliminate subjectivity, but at some point, state and federal law, when it gets to a waiver, requires clerk, who's our FOIA coordinator, to address those two state or federal law guidance areas, if I'm hearing that correctly.
Is there a way that we could get the report of, which FOIA items were requested, which ones were waived? Is that something that could be on a monthly report to where we can have a look and see if there's, issues with,
I mean, look, I think clerk just said that she's gonna, so you're asking like to see FOIA waiver updates?
Well, we have a report on the public safety directors on the FOIAs that came into the police department, I think, and on the monthly report anyway. Is that inclusive of the FOIAs that came in through the clerk's office, or is that exclusive of that?
I'm not sure.
It's just the police department.
So it sounds like you're looking for a clerk, like a number of FOIAs came in, number of waivers that were given?
Yeah. Is that a big deal, or? Because, we have no idea what FOIAs come in and out.
No. It's doable.
Okay. All right, so there's an ask for visibility on number of FOIAs coming in and waivers put forth. Clerk Tomasi, thank you for bringing this to council.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Any further questions or discussion for Clerk Tomasic on that topic? Treasurer Fonte, floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So, working off the Plant Moran correspondences over the years, and up to and including this one this year, when we took office, we noticed that there wasn't much standard operating procedures going forward. So, we're still working under a rigorous oversight of we'll call it the custody of the taxpayer funds. And I want to call a big shout out to Amy and Chelsea and Mary for providing me with all the details that we need to prevent bad things from happening. And I think we've been pretty much successful on doing that. But it requires more than us being there presently. We have to look at this. We said this in the engineering meeting, that we have to start establishing standard operating procedures here, that in case somebody isn't here or if the government changes, that the process still works flawlessly on rectifying invoices and what should be attached to invoices and credit cards and so on and so forth. So this process continues. It's going to take council to establish the standard operating procedures, either appoint somebody to acquire them, but it's nothing that Plant Moran hasn't pointed out in the past and presently. A lot of the issues that we're entertaining right now through financial or forensic audits have everything to do with standard operating procedures for payroll, accounts payable, accounts receivable, et cetera. It has everything to do with it. And as we entered into this government, there was a lack of all that. So right now, the perseverance of your personnel, your treasurer that has provided this oversight has arrested this problem, but it's can easily fall apart with a change of government if procedures aren't put in place. So tonight, a citizen was asked a lot, was asking a lot of questions on basically where we're at with these, some of these points. So credit cards, store account purchases. We addressed this on an August 26th meeting or August 30th meeting. I addressed it in a letter to council. We've identified various things on the credit cards. I'm sorry?
Please, public comment is not right now, please. We have another public comment session.
So, okay. So the credit cards and the store accounts were addressed August 30th. They were identified. The discipline hasn't followed yet. So we're still waiting to see what council is going to do with the problems that the Office of the Treasurer has identified as being problematic. We've also identified recently overpayments on certain certifications that have possibly ascended to about $35,000 since 1999. So that's an identification that is going to be in front of council shortly. They're going to have to figure out what they're going to do with that situation. When a citizen comes up and challenges me about something that happened at 2 o'clock in the morning, they don't have a credit card, I'm as perplexed as anybody else here to hear such a comment. I don't know what's open at 2 o'clock in the morning that you need a credit card. I have always availed myself to make sure that the DPW has all the materials and supplies they need. And so I have no idea what that comment was, and that's why there wasn't much comment coming from me on that evening. Fuel inventory, since we've entered into the office, there's a problem with fuel inventory, gasoline and diesel fuel. We have a fuel tank that's above ground fuel tank at the TPW department. Nobody inventories the fuel. I've requested, I've identified that problem. I've spoken with leaders in this government. We all recognize it. We've placed that responsibility on City Administrator Blackburn. I gave him some real common sense pointers again to do it in the old-fashioned way until we arrest it with automation and other means available. But all those things cost a lot of money. The way that we're suggesting to do it is a real simple task. So we'll see how that works out, but it's identified. Right now, there's no controls there. People fuel up, and there's no clipboard. There's no way to identify who takes what out of there. And that was an issue that we identified back in June. We also identified a lack of a equipment inventory list here on what we have for equipment, small tools, et cetera. So, and the reason for that is that we continuously get invoices from store vendors and other equipment houses for certain things for, excuse me, the DPW. And our question always is, where is the other one? What happened to it? Where did it go? How many of these we have? And right now, we're running without an inventory. So we've requested that from our new city administrator. Purchase orders, we've identified that we didn't have a purchase order system here, even though the charter or the ordinance, excuse me, the charter had that, or I should say council established this back, I think, in 1987. We brought that forward to our interim city manager, and between him and Amy, they revised it, and it's now in process, but we haven't got the software to start it yet, and I think that's coming in March. We required all department head approvals on all invoices now, with all the necessary backup to all accounts payable. Department heads approved payroll, AR receivables and the payables, and the department heads also approve all overtime. We also identified, I don't know, several meters that DTE has drop locations within the city. We've got addresses on them now. Some of them are for pump stations, lighting services, and so on and so forth. So we have identified all the DTE meters. We've also requested, our last lighting bill for the city was over $7,000. And we've noticed as we drive through the town that with the rising and setting suns that our timers aren't compatible with the change in the sunrise and sunset. So we've asked city administrator to look into getting an automated system in here so that we can control our lighting and reduce our costs. City Attorney Bologna talked to you about the forensic audit and what's coming up. There's no need to talk about that anymore. They've taken a deep dive, and their recommendations will be forthcoming, I think, within 3 or 4 weeks, and they plan on attending a meeting here and giving a presentation on what they found. That brings me to the I guess you could call it the dissolution of the current City of Gibraltar Community Foundation. I've given each of the council people, everybody on the dais here, the correspondence I put together today. I did this to do our due diligence on, once you dissolve this City of Gibraltar Community Foundation, that we make sure that if there was any money transferred into it or out of it, that we knew about it, it was on the books and so on and so forth. So let me take you through a little brief run of this. As we did our search through LARA, which is the licensing division of the Michigan State and IRS, we found that there is a City of Gibraltar Community Foundation. It was founded and incorporated on May of 2023. The resident agent is one of our former attorneys, Randall Pentuyuk. It was formed under the Nonprofit Corporation Act. It has a Michigan ID number. It's a domestic nonprofit, and this would be interesting. They changed the name from May of 24 of 23, and they changed it on May 30th of 23. So within 6 days, they were able to change the name to the, they changed it from the Gibraltar Community Foundation. And I put an asterisk there for council because that's pretty interesting. That there's a reason why that name was changed, and the reason why that name was changed, we'll discover a little later. So as the public listens to this, we went through 3 iterations in 20-something years of having foundations in this community. They were started and they were stopped, started and stopped, and then they were started again, and now we're going to stop another one. And it just, there's a curiosity there of why. And the attorneys involved with this were the same attorneys. So, and most of the people that were involved with it were either on council or in some sort of government. So the question is why do we start and stop these community foundations? 3 of them. The second one was formed in 2006 and ran to about 2013, and that was called the Gibraltar Area Community Foundation. So the first one was called, or the one that we're traveling in today, is the City of Gibraltar Community Foundation. The 2006 was the Gibraltar Area Community Foundation. Started in 2006, it ran till 2013. Listed the resident agents and the same attorneys. They were able to use the mailing address. They didn't even use the city's mailing address. They used Mr. Ross's mailing address on Young Street in Gibraltar. He was the president of it, and there's a list of officers on it. We checked with Plant Moran on all these, and they have no records of any money transferring through these. They don't even have any records on this one, as do we, because the records have been either shredded or trashed because the statute of limitations runs out on keeping some of these records. So in 2006, excuse me, in 2002, the first foundation, the Gibraltar Community Foundation, this is the one that was used in 2002 and required the 2023 one to be changed to the City of Gibraltar Community Foundation. And this one was dissolved in 3 years in 2005, and it was formed by the attorneys again, same attorneys. And to our knowledge, we can't find any transactions or funds because we don't have any records. So it's not to say that money hadn't changed hands in those, but that's how it was. So I know there was questions from a citizen last week about this hook and crook phrase that I used, and let me give you an example of why I used it and where it came from. So the origins of Hooker Crook is from the 13th century England and stems from the practice of having allowed commoners to take as much wood from the royal forest as they could reach with a shepherd's crook and cut down with a billhook. Over time, the phrase came to be used by any means necessary and available. And that's where I learned it from. And I learned it from the nuns that taught me in parochial schools as they stood over me saying, Mr. Fonte, you're going to learn this by hook or crook. And so I did. And it was a common phrase that we used during our time. And it didn't mean that we were near the royal forest in our subdivision, or we had a shepherd's crook or a bill hook to cut anything down. It was just a phrase I learned in Catholic school from the nuns who stood over you with a ruler. So it was available, I used it in our Michigan Business Entity Search through the LORA, the Department of Licensing and Regulatory Affairs, and the IRS website using a keyword search of Gibraltar. And that's all I did. And I came up with these three Gibraltar foundations. So your city, since 2002, developed or created three foundations, and we're currently in the dissolution of the third one. I have no idea why they dissolved and were recreated. Maybe somebody on council formerly knows why. It'd be an interesting subject matter. But just so that as council goes through the dissolution process, I wanted you to be aware that there was three of them. And that led me to the discovery of the Gibraltar Rockwood Area Foundation, Gibraltar Rotary Foundation, the Rotary International, and the Gibraltar Rockwood Rotary Club. That was it. That's how that was discovered. Just as simple as anybody that could go to a LORA site and click on Gibraltar, you'll get 12 pages of Gibraltar businesses, and then when you start filtering them down, that's what you end up getting. We've identified recently the cost of revenue on the two community centers. That's something for council to think about and decide what we're going to do with the future of the building and how it's going to be attended to, and the ongoing costs that we put in for utilities and gas, electric, et cetera. We also, as in our office, identified and listened to our DPW department on the continuous water leak issues and with the valving and metering problems. So the Office of Treasurer reached out to GLEWA with a letter and requested immediate attention to that problem, and discovered that we were 2 years away from getting a meter change, and we requested an acceleration on that, and they complied, and they changed the meters, and so far, the feedback we're getting from City Administrator Blackburn is promising, that we're discovering that the loss might be attributable to what our DPW department had said in the past, that the meters aren't registering. So hopefully through the acoustic testing that Benesh, and that's another thing the Treasurer Department did, is we reached out to GLEWA, asked for experts in that field. We were able to acquire Benesh. We brought that to the Infrastructure Committee and Council, and we've engaged them, and they're on site now doing that study, and hopefully they'll find no problems, and then we can go back and have our little battle with GLEWA and get some of our money back. We've also identified, I know that this seems to be an issue with some ongoing litigation, but we've identified permit issues, with a lot of people not advertising or posting their permits. We've reached out now with Director Bullard, and he's directed his ordinance officer to be very diligent on posting of the permits. This will help alleviate any curiosity or questions people have. The permits are under ordinance to be posted. It's a requirement. So, any building that's going on throughout the city here should be posted and should eliminate the question of who's doing what and how they're doing it. The permit is required to be posted, and I'm happy that Director Bullard's taken this and has run with it and has let his ordinance officer know that. The last thing I want to talk about is that we requested exit interviews. We didn't have an exit interview policy. I still haven't seen one in front of me yet. So hopefully, City Administrator Blackburn will get that in process right away. As things continue to evolve around here, it's important that we have exit interviews to prevent a lot of things that happened over the past couple weekends. So that's my report.
Thank you. Any questions for Treasurer Fonte? All right. Finance Director McEwen unfortunately can't be with us this evening, so send love to her, but she did have the investment portfolio as of 2/19/2025. Any questions or comments we want to document for the record for Finance Director McEwen beyond what's already been shared?
Pretty strong performance. I think she would probably say in her report that we have a pretty solid 4+% on all of our investments that have produced. I mean, they've produced a significant amount of money for us this year. They really have. This is something that 5 years ago wasn't a thing. So when we kept our operating funds in a bank account, 5 years ago, you didn't see returns like this. So we've probably increased. I'm just using round numbers. I'll bet you we've added $200,000 to $300,000 to our operating funds this year just by putting them in the correct money market type of accounts. And she's the one that brought that to us, and it's performed accordingly. And that's a significant benefit to our community.
Absolutely. Well, thank you again to Finance Director McEwen, as mentioned earlier. And if there's no further questions for her, we wish her well as she's home, and we will turn it over to Chief Bullard.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and Council. Since the last council meeting, the police department's responded to 84 calls for service, 3 incident reports, 3 traffic citations, and 2 school resource officer investigations, including 1 Detective Bureau investigation. I'm excited to announce that all the dispatchers will be starting their 32-hour emergency medical dispatcher training. I received a grant through the DCC to fund this training. An applicant was interviewed for the position of police officer. The applicant did pass his background check. I am excited to announce that I gave him a conditional offer pending a drug screening, psychological test, and council approval. Sergeant Robinson completed his first week of staff in command at Eastern Michigan University, and the program will be until October of 2025. The All Traffic Solutions Report will continue on Adams and Addison. We have 2 weeks left in the study. I'll bring that study back to council in 2 weeks, and then the next study is going to be at Stoflet and Adams. I do have one action item. A motion to pay outstanding fire department invoice to McQueen in the amount of $4,557.90. On January 30th, 2025, I received the outstanding invoice from the city dated 4/22/2024. The purchase was made by Fire Chief Bill Kane on 12/20 of 2023. It was discovered that the purchase was denied prior to the purchase by council on November 13th, 2023. Chief Kane requested to waive the formal bid process at the council meeting, which was denied. A second action item was requested by Chief Bill Kane and presented by Chief Tangway at the council meeting on April 22nd, 2024, and the action item was denied. I'm requesting a motion to pay the outstanding invoice to McQueen in the amount of $4,550.90.
Thank you so much for the background. Obviously, you're coming to council with the request to pay that outstanding invoice. You've acknowledged that council has rejected that twice.
Yes.
But it was purchased despite that rejection.
it should be noted that I'm trying to be transparent, that Chief Kane was suspended prior to me discovering this invoice. After I discovered this invoice, his suspension continued, and he filed his retirement paperwork with me. So,
In context, before we get to the invoice, just for transparency for council, in context of the suspension and the invoice topic, was there anything else that happened from a, I would say, investigation or interface with Chief Kane related to his fire position that you'd like to share with council?
prior to me discovering this invoice, he was suspended for insubordination and unsatisfactory performance.
Council, I think it's important that you're aware of those two items. I appreciate our Director of Public Safety for taking action in context of the insubordination and the invoice as described by the chain of events. So, Council, obviously, you're in a situation now where you have a invoice that must be rectified, in the amount that Chief Bullard has described. So, be looking for a motion to rectify that invoice in light of the overview that Chief Bullard had provided.
Yeah, it's a challenging spot when we were asked for approval to purchase something. We asked for the proper procedures to be followed, and the employee decided not to follow the procedure and decided to do it anyway. But to the vendor is not a guilty actor. The vendor did what they thought was the right thing to do, which was supply the equipment that was ordered by the city of Gibraltar as far as they're concerned. I think we have an obligation to pay that and deal with our internal issue accordingly. And it sounds like it has been dealt with accordingly. But the vendor does not deserve to take the short end of the stick on this. For that reason, I'll make the motion to make this payment.
Motion by Molnar, is there a second?
I'll second the motion.
Second by McNabb. Any further discussion on this matter?
I noticed that the fire department has a budget of $3,500 for uniforms. Can we apply that $3,500 to the $4,500 that we owe?
Chief Bullard, can you address that?
Yes, the 3,500, now I'm going to have to transfer other funds from a different account to cover the remaining.
Thank you. Any further discussion on this matter?
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, is there any chance, maybe the city attorney can answer this, is there any chance for restitution from the employee for doing this act?
City attorney, do you have any immediate perspective? If not, take that as a follow-up.
Yeah, I could follow up on that, but it would require next steps, which would be, I guess, a criminal investigation or a civil lawsuit. But that would be, as far as if it's criminal level, I don't investigate. That'd be up to a police agency to do an investigation and then make a recommendation.
Okay, well, that's a choice that
Yeah, I
council
think
can make.
council has that, right. We're in that motion with a second. Any further discussion on the motion specifically? All right, Katie, please call roll whenever you're ready.
Valentine?
Yes.
Walden?
Yes.
Wood?
Yes.
Cox?
Yes.
McNabb?
Yes.
Mulnar?
Yes.
Schumate?
Yes. Chief Bullard, back to you on item B.
Yes, Mr. Mayor and Council, I do have one more action item. That's a motion to receive and file Bill Kane's retirement letter from the fire department after 31 years of service.
Is there a
It's attached to
motion?
your packets.
Is there a motion from council?
Motion to receive and file.
Motion by Valentine. Is there a second for that motion?
Second.
Second by Walden. From a discussion point of view, I think it was important, Chief Bullard, thank you for the transparency in regards to the situations that led to the discussion and action. Council, any further discussion items that you'd like to raise for this? Katie, please call roll.
Walden?
Yes.
Wood?
Yes.
Cox?
Yes.
McNabb?
Yes.
Mulnar?
Yes.
Schumate?
Yes.
Valentine?
Yes.
Great. Council, in context of the motion that you just made to receive and file in the second and the carrying of that motion, obviously, the discussion Chief Bullard had raised with you, while none of that is related to the ongoing forensic accountant audit and special investigation that was referenced earlier today, I think it's important for you all to consider that Chief Kane, separately speaking, does have active employment in our DPW. I know there's some questions around the attorney and perspectives there. Again, action remains with council, but I want you to consider that in context of the information that was shared with you this evening.
I'm going to make a motion that we appoint Cindy Simon as fire chief with a 6-month probationary period.
There's a motion by Valentine.
Just a little discussion, Mr. Mayor and Council.
Please.
I wanted to file a communication, that was my next part of my report, to have Deputy Chief Simon continue as her duties until further notice.
I appreciate that
I
perspective.
appreciate all that she's done, and that's
Yeah.
the communication I'd like to file.
Yeah, Councilman Valentine, you have the right as council member to make that motion. Obviously, part of the segue was to the next item for which he just highlighted, so.
I already made the motion to
Okay.
appoint her as fire chief, pending a 6-month probationary period.
All right, so there's a motion by Valentine. Is there a second from council for that?
I'll second that.
For discussion purposes, Chief Bullard, can you just please restate what you mentioned? Because obviously you came in here with a perspective that you wanted to share with council.
Yes, I wanted just to file a communication with the city that I wanted to have Deputy Chief Simon continue running the fire department right now, and I am going to be doing a future job posting for the position of fire chief with the city of Gibraltar. I've already been working on a job posting, and that will probably be at the next council meeting.
All right, so you have, I just want to make sure this is our Director of Public Safety, and obviously Deputy Chief Simon sitting next to him. So Councilman Valentine has the right to make that motion. We have a second by Walden. I just want us to keep that in context. The recommendation, the motion you've just made is in contrast to the recommendation from your Director of Public Safety. That's important to me to acknowledge. So I want to make sure we're all clear on that. With that being said, is there any further discussion?
Why do we have to post it? Are we pretty sure she's going to be up to the task?
I'm sure she would be, but we probably want to talk to Cindy first, so.
I was trying to be polite in stating that.
I'm sorry, Councilman Valentine.
Look,
but, you know, yeah.
Well, would you accept the position? Cindy?
Some discussion.
What?
Some discussion.
Yeah, I want to be very clear. In discussion, I was trying to be polite in the way that was framed. Simply put, I can't support that. I support Deputy Chief Simon relentlessly. It's hard for me. We have to have respect for the process here. Also, our Director of Public Safety. So, Councilman Valentine, while I appreciate your aspirations, you will not have my support on this one for just that reason, because I want to make sure we give this process time to play out and to respect the chief that is sitting there and respect Deputy Chief Simon, as she just alluded to. But any further discussion on this matter?
Yeah, I was going to bring the same thing up. So I know Chief Bullard he's putting something together for chief, and that kind of raises a concern for me. Okay, if we appoint Cindy as the chief now, what happens if we find a chief to take her place? Does she go back to DC? How does that work? I have nothing but the highest amount of faith in Cindy. I think she's capable of doing the job, but I also know Cindy on a personal level, and I know that she has a lot going on behind the scenes, and I don't want to see us overwork someone that could benefit us in the future. And that's really all I have to say. What I will also say is I would like to see the fire department take this opportunity to not necessarily restructure, but maybe revamp some of their SOPs and bring us back up to where we need to be.
I love that a lot. So with that being said, I ask council to very carefully consider your vote for the motion that's on the floor. I think we should give this process some time to prevail, but I appreciate the signal of positive.
Withdraw my motion.
Okay, thank you. Is there a second that would withdraw that?
I will second that.
Thank you. Deputy Chief Simon, thank you. Chief Bullard, thank you. As you heard, Chief Bullard has a communication asked.
Just a communication.
It's just a
There's no
communication
action requirement from
that
council.
does not require action, that allows continuity for our department and Deputy Chief to play a significant role in that continuity. And I think, to me, that's the best path we possibly can have right now. Anybody else have anything to add there? Chief Bullard, anything else on your end?
Thank you. That's the end of my report.
Okay.
Sorry, Pat.
Council, so obviously you have everything that Chief Bullard had addressed. Any further questions for Chief Bullard? Any other actions to consider in that lane? No? Okay. Fire Chief, or Deputy Chief Simon.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. From 2/5 to 2/19, we had 26 EMS calls, 2 of which were mutual aids from Rockwood, 4 fire calls, 1 of which was mutual aid from Rockwood, and we had 3 auto aids, 2 from Huron Township and 1 from Flat Rock, for a total of 3 mutual aids and 3 auto aids. Congratulations to firefighter Eshelman, who completed his requirements to obtain his state of Michigan EMT license. He's fully licensed and on the road.
Awesome.
So congratulations to him, and that's a big achievement. There's a lot of training that goes into training a firefighter EMT, many, many hundreds of hours. So congrats to him. Speaking of which, we do have a 2025 EMT class scheduled. It's been approved with the state. It's going to be held here in City Hall in the training room upstairs. It's going to run from April 23rd through August 2nd, meeting every Wednesday, Friday from 5 to 9, most Saturdays from 9 to 4. We have 3 students that will be participating in the class, and this has been opened up to our mutual aid partners for a total of approximately 10 students. And we're currently looking into getting the cost of this course covered by DCC. Additional details will be forthcoming. And then some upcoming items, we've got our annual licensing renewals with the state and our medical control authority, and we're going to be working on a recruitment drive to try to drive up participation. So, thank you for your support.
That's fantastic. Thank you. Any questions for Deputy Chief slash interim lead Simon?
Just a clarification question, if you don't mind. When we say mutual aids, so for looking at the first run numbers, so 26 EMS, 2 of which were mutual aids from Rockwood, that means we went out and helped them, is that correct?
No, for this mutual aids, this is where we requested their support.
Okay, so 2 times we requested their support, and then
Correct.
three times somebody requested our support.
Yes.
Got it, okay, understood. I just want to make sure I was reading that right. So, we give more than we get.
Sometimes.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Fantastic. Any further questions for Simon? All right, council, this has been a very lengthy and very productive meeting on many fronts, but we are now on unfinished business, for which we have none. New business, there's opportunities to raise new business if council so chooses. Yes, please.
You know, I think I'm going to make the motion that we allow the Gibraltar Rockwood Rotary to use that address until August 1st, 2025.
There's a motion by Valentine. Is there a second?
What?
There's a motion by Valentine. Is there a second on that motion? That motion does not have a second, unfortunately. Okay. Any other new business that council would like to raise this evening? Okay, there's no table and referred items, so that will bring us back to public comment. Members of public, please approach the podium, state your name and address, and make sure that light is still green for me.
It is.
Mayor Schuett.
Todd Taylor, 116 Elm Street, Hoodlink, Michigan, 48629. It's unfortunate that that motion wasn't seconded and passed, as for all that we do for this community, and we will continue to do for this community, because that's how we are. I do have a question. For a mail that is being received here at City Hall or the community center, who is the taker of it? Who's keeping it?
City Administrator Blackburn.
I check the mail and I give it to our clerical staff.
Okay. Who is opening it?
I do not know that.
We received our mail today.
Okay.
And everything had been opened.
Okay, I will instruct them not to.
Well, I mean, it's federal law. I mean, whether it's going to your address or my address, your name is not on it, mine is, and it's not to be opened by anybody but the Rotary.
I will double check on that. I know it wasn't me. I don't know if anybody else, I don't know who did, but I will make sure that they know.
I appreciate that. I mean, it's just professional courtesy.
Yep, not a problem.
You know? I'd appreciate that. And would we like to create a schedule to where we come and get the mail from you? weekly, monthly. We don't get a whole lot.
Yeah,
I'm addressing the
if-
council, not you back there, okay?
Yeah, please.
Thanks.
if you want to give a call on a Wednesday or if you want to give a call on the week to see if we have anything,
Whatever works for you.
so you don't waste your trip, you know, you call and see if we have anything for you. If we
Absolutely.
don't, you don't have to waste your gas. If you do, you can come up here and get it.
Great idea, thank you.
No problem.
Thank you.
Jump in real quick?
Yeah, please.
I want to make a motion to excuse Councilman Walden. He's got to make it to work.
Okay. We're in public comment, so I think you, Katie, are we allowed to make a motion here? Great. Motion by Molnar,
Second.
second by Valentine. Any discussion? And if not, Katie, please call roll whenever you're ready.
McNabb,
Yes.
Molnar,
Yes.
Schumate,
Yes.
Valentine.
Yes.
Walden,
Do I vote or abstain?
You can vote on this one.
Yes.
Wood. Cox.
Yes.
Please, thank you for being here.
Thank you, Mayor and Council.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah. Based on the actions tonight, the music in the parks and stuff that Rotary would partake in is all canceled. Duck drop, kayak poker run, right?
Music in the park isn't canceled.
No, but us providing the beer tent is.
Because the DDA pays for the bands.
I'll be quick, because we all want to go home. Tina Kuzma, 30495 Bayview. FOIA, I deal with those consistently in my line of work. They are, and I know I'm struggling to explain them. We order through title for various reasons, stacks like this. And it is at the discretion, and we order through the county because it all has to do with title work. So it's at the discretion of the clerk at the county. And I can get a stack like this and only end up paying $10 because only a couple of those pages were gonna be only pertaining to my search on that property. The rest is public information, whether that's something that's posted on a door or put in a publication, various things. So FOIA is, you might not like it, but that's exactly what it's there for. Like even when you were drawing, they would make the discretion, is this in his personal interest because he's trying to educate himself? Or would this be benefiting the community if he was to get that information out there? That's where the discretion's made. We don't have the ability to decipher that. Katie does the best to her ability, and we support that 1,000%. In a transparent world, shouldn't have nothing to worry about, should want us to FOIA every little bit of anything and put that out there, that it's exactly what the Freedom of Information Act was created for. Exactly what it's created for. No, the law states you don't
Please,
need
public
to.
comment, can we please keep it to the podium, please? Thank
The
you.
law exactly states that for a purpose. So, and then on the other remark that you made that I questioned the credit card, I didn't. I said when she was up here talking about the credit cards, she also inferred about something that they were being accused of that has to do with maybe embezzlement, maybe misrepresentation of funds of somebody in a residence. So I wasn't talking about the credit cards.
Let me, I should have said this, and she's not even an employee here, so I have no responsibility to address her. If her husband had an issue or something, he could have addressed us, but, you know,
That
that's.
was my
Yeah,
question to you.
that's-
Did anything come of that? So that was my question
And that's
to
why
you.
I spoke today about the credit cards and
Yeah,
that,
but I
those-
wasn't talking about the
Yeah.
credit card.
Thank you.
Well, what were you talking about then?
I just explained what I was talking about.
Treasurer
Well, I'm
Fontaine,
dense.
I'd suggest,
She brought that up
Yeah.
in that conversation when she was discussing that. She alluded to a circumstance in which there was an impropriety with her and her husband. They were being accused of an impropriety between her and her husband with a resident at a facility. And has anything come of that?
Oh,
Is that being investigated?
Oh, I wouldn't know that. That's
Yeah.
out of my purview.
thank you. Any further public comment this evening? If so, please state the name and address at the podium. Okay, great. That will conclude our public comment this evening, and I'd like to look for a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion by Molnar, is there a second? Second by Wood. Katie, please call roll whenever you are ready.
Molnar.
Yes.
Schumate.
Yes.
Valentine. Yes. Walden. Oh, Wood. Cox.
Yes.
McNabb.
Yes.
Meeting adjourned. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Sorry.
Yeah, I'm so sorry. So when they had the printed out packets here for information, this was Councilman Molnar's letter that we were receiving and filing, and it was a part of his attachment. I'm so sorry. No, thank you. Yeah, it was a communication received and filed, that was part of it.